out the corner of my eye, I see this buddhi walking towards us. And I'm like, please don't stop here. This will kill you. And she's walked over and she's like, all right, love. I'm like, all right.
All right, love.
Yeah. And she's like, what's this?
Yeah.
I said, oh, it's our chili sauce. And she's like, oh, is it hot? I'm like, yeah, it is very hot. And she's tried it and she's gone red and she's like making the faces and we're like, oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble. And she goes, that's really, really hot, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. She goes, it's nice though. And she reached into her purse and she gave me £2.
Yeah.
By the end of that weekend, we'd sold out 1,000 bottles.
Jeez!
Oh!
All right, so I'm here with, it's another episode of Hype Talks with Hazzy. And you know what? Today I'm going to be speaking in my mother tongue because I have to. Today's going to be English and Punjabi. And you know what? We got the Mr. Singhs. We got the Red Turban Special. The man behind everything. The chili special. Uncle, introduce yourself, please.
Me?
Yeah.
I am named Hardev Singh Sahota and I was born in Kenya and now basically live in UK with my boys and my sons and the founder of the company, Mr. Singh.
Cheers, Mr. Singhs. Come on. Mr. Singh. Singh means lion, just so you don't know the spice. Share banda. All right, and go on, introduce yourself, my bro.
So my name's Cooks. I'm one of Popsy's boys, and I run a company with my brothers, and we just get my dad to do crazy things, create crazy things, and just put our name out there into the world.
That's it, and get that red turban flying everywhere. Get it all redded up. Chalo.
Lal.
लाल कर दो सारी दुनिया नु. चलो क्या बात है. So मैं शुरुआत करता अंकल. मैं दोनों पूछूंगा. Mr. Singh, let's find out where Mr. Singh was born, when he was born. So please just swap on.
So basically, I was born in Nairobi, in Kenya, Africa. In 22nd July 1954.
1954, wow.
Yes, so the Janamaya, I was the first one in the family. And so
तुसी Nairobi choice again 1954.
Nairobi.
So you were born in 1954. How many brothers and sisters did you have? How big of a family?
I was first born in the family. Actually, I was the first boy in the family. So afterwards, I had 4 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
But I was actually adopted by my father's uncle.
Okay.
Because he didn't have any children, and I was the firstborn, and they just fell in love with me, and
they fall in love the whole day. Yeah.
So that was it really.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਹੋ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫੈਮਿਲੀ ਨਾਇਰੋਬੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਚ ਹਨਾ
ਹਾਂਜੀ
ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਡੈਡ ਉੱਥੇ ਬੌਰਨ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਤਾਂ ਡੈਡ
ਡੈਡ ਮੇਰੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਬੌਰਨ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ
he was from India. Where from?
ਸਾਡਾ ਅਸੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ ਪਗਵਾੜੇ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਸਾਡਾ ਪਿੰਡ ਹੈਗਾ ਮੇਲੀ
Okay, nice.
ਸਾਡਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਰਿਵਾਰ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਾਬੇ ਮਤਲਬ ਬਾਬੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਨਾ 3 ਬਾਬੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹ ਉਥੋਂ they went from India to Kenya.
Okay.
One of them went to Mwanza.
Okay.
And the other 2 were in Nairobi.
Okay, so your babbe are the original Punjabi aa gaye oye. Punjabi aa gaye Africa jo oye.
That's it, yeah, exactly. So ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ and then obviously ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਬੁਲਾ ਲਏ ਉੱਥੇ ਸੋ ਡੈਡ ਵੀ ਆ ਗਏ
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਡੈਡ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਚ ਹੋਏ ਸੀਗੇ
ਡੈਡ ਮੇਰੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਬੌਰਨ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਡੈਡ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਬਾਬਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਸੀ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਹੋਏ ਬਾਬਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਵਿਆਹ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਹੋਏ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਪਰ ਬਾਬੇ ਸੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗਏ ਅਫਰੀਕਾ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਬਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਮੰਗਾ ਲਏ ਸਾਰੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਪਿੰਡ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ they went to
ਕਿਹੜੇ ਟਾਈਮ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਹੈ what time are we
talking around about maybe I got no ideas really maybe 50s maybe can't be 50s I mean maybe 1930s
wow
somewhere along
so young early times
young, yeah, exactly.
So growing up you grew up in Nairobi how was growing up kidda siga grow up
Nairobi was amazing
kya bata hai
and ਅਸੀਂ ਛੱਪੜ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਗੰਦ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਜੰਮੇ ਆ and we used to love playing in mud and little kids playing toy pante khelde marbles khelne and it was like rainy season we would go and jump into those little pods tadpoles pakadniya and just some crazy stuff there and
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਫਰੀਕਾ ਨੂੰ ਹੀ ਆਪਣਾ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਬਣਾ ਲਿਆ ਹੈ ਕੀ ਬਾਤਾਂ ਨੇ
Well, it was for us. It was something that was the only thing that was there. It was never, okay, modern they are building up. It was just very scattered, much open spaces, and people used to be so friendly. There was no jata juta kuch nahi siga. Everybody used to एक घर ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੰਜ ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਇਕੱਠੀਆਂ
Really?
Yeah. So ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦੇ 4-5 ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਦੂਏ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ 3-4 ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਸੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਿਆਣੇ ਜੇ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਇਕੱਠੇ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਸਟਰੀਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਖੇਡਣਾ ਕ੍ਰਿਕਟ ਖੇਡਣਾ ਕਦੀ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ so it was a really place where you bonded with your children and it was just amazing growing up there. It was really
just to add to what my dad said, when you asked him like what was it like growing up in Kenya, and they do this like and they like gloss over right. If you ask anyone, like whether they're Gujarati, whether they're Punjabi, Muslim, and like if their family or their like previous generations were born in Kenya, they all talk about Kenya like it's this like magical fantasy land, and they do that same glossed over look, and everyone was together, everyone was bonded, and that like feeling of togetherness, like no judgment, no like differences between people. Is I think what they transported from there to here. So I mean, I'll let him carry on the story.
No,
you
can interrupt, bro, whenever you want.
That expression, should I say?
Yeah, that tells us everything.
That tells everything.
Yeah, like, it's magical.
It's like a magical experience.
But even now, Kenya is seen as one of the safest countries, and Kenya is seen as a very beautiful country.
It is, It's an amazing.
So I have a question. You family did your dad wear a turban? Pag bande si dad?
Yes, my dad turban bande sige babe sare turban. Us wele jale ke jale when we were growing up, to cut your hair was like way chhattar pehne, anybody wouldn't dare cut their hair, it was like je koi apne family de cho as we were growing up koi it was like a shameful thing to baal cut sikh okay, it was such a huge thing.
But how do you think in a country that is not native to Asians, now obviously there's a lot of things, but when you were growing up, jab tusi grow up ho rahe sige udo apne bande sige bahut Asian log.
Yeah, I mean apne Sikh because like a lot of migration had happened, a lot of family adain ikkathiyan hoiyan sigiyan, so ek street de vich must be 40-50 families and you knew ਸਾਰੇ ਸਰਦਾਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸੀ ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਰੱਖਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੰਡੇ ਨੂੰ ਕੇਸੀ ਖੁਸ਼ੀ ਨਹਾ ਨੂੰ ਕੇ ਤੇਲ ਤੂਲ ਲਾ ਕੇ ਠਾਠੀਆਂ ਠੂਠੀਆਂ ਬਣ ਕੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਧੁੱਪ ਤੇ ਬਾਬੂ ਸੁਕਾਉਣੇ ਫਿਰ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਪੁੱਗਾਂ ਬੰਨਣੀਆਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੇ and that was like a Sunday ritual there.
In the 50s, this is 50s, 60s in Kenya.
Yeah.
And the locals of Kenya at that time.
Africans.
How was it? How do you think that to see like you sort of got on with them? How was it? How was the relationship?
I mean, they were there. I mean, they had like very small shanties where they used to live around, and they used to come and work with as servants in different houses. So we used to, the kids, be honest, kids now we killed them. They African kids, now we used to play with them, and they were just like part of the community growing up in Kenya at that time. There weren't that many there, but they were there as well because that was their homeland, And as I said, most of the Africans were working for different countries or like for different businesses, doing the labor stuff. So they were mainly the labor community there at that time in Africa.
So that time when you were growing up in Africa, in Kenya, was there any discrimination towards Sikhs or?
No, nothing like that. Like even like Muslims or Gujaratis, and we used to, as friends, we used to tease each other. Kachi machi khatore, and all that sort of slangs we used to make.
But like a very friendly way.
And they used to sing they pagri ma doo,
Yeah.
So we used to muck around with each other, but friendship was like more than 200%. And one of the Eid or banana ki kuch leke lana khana. And even like families used to ਅਸੀਂ ਆ ਭੈਣ ਜੀ ਆ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਾਲ ਦੀ ਮੁਸਲਿਮ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਫੜਾਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਦੇ ਦੇਣਾ ਇੱਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹਲਾਲ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ ਹਲਾਲ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਦੇ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਸੀ we never heard of it until we came here. It was so close. Gujaratis, okay, I mean, I don't even know कि उसमें कोई vegetarian सीखा कि नहीं, but nobody really bothered about that. So it was never any discrimination, nothing like that. Even in schools, we were growing up, nothing like that.
Anything that we know today around discrimination and like, in Sikhi, there's not supposed to be like caste, but people still say they're Jat, they're this, they're that. or like the Gujaratis do this, or Muslims do that, the English do this. Like that only, from what I've heard and what we heard growing up, all of that stuff only started when they got here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? They didn't know that even like within Sikhi there was different types of people. They didn't know, like, you know, that person. All right, they know they're Hindu, let's say, but that was like a secondary thing. The first thing was, that's a person, that's my friend, they're like my family. And that way of looking at people as the person first, and then whatever they are, second, third,
It's a
and
beautiful
fourth,
thing, yeah.
it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
I feel like like Kenyan, like Asians, let's say, they've got a very different perspective and mindset, and their children do as well, versus people that have maybe come direct from like
Punjab.
India or from Punjab or wherever they've come from. It's very, very different.
And do you feel like that's because you grow up around different diversity, so therefore your mind is
100%.
broadened, rather than people that from directly from a certain country, from one region, they're more sort of
Yeah,
narrow-minded.
it's fully that. Like, if you don't have diversity, you learn through diversity. Like, you learn about different ways of doing things. It's a different set of eyes on the same situation. You and I are sitting opposite each other, but we're seeing this room, let's say, in the same way, but we're seeing it in different perspectives. And that's what happens. And these guys, they grew up seeing the person first, and then thankfully they taught us that. That was our upbringing. So we were always taught to see the person first, and then learn from them. Oh, that's interesting. You do that. That's very cool. That you do that in your culture, in your religion, or whatever it is. And we learn doing things that way, rather than, oh no, this is the way it's supposed to be done, and there's no deviation from that. And if you do wrong from that, you're bad. Now that's, for us, that's like an alien concept.
No, 100%. You're absolutely correct. I think I was just gonna say Kenya was modern before being modern was even a thing. Being diversity. Yeah.
Like, even their bugs are different.
Yeah. No, I was gonna get into that anyway. So, what age did you stay in Kenya till, uncle? What age tak?
So basically, I did my primary school there, and then from primary, I did my secondary school. So basically, like, I did my GCSEs there, and then I did my A levels there.
Jeez, uncle knows about the GCSEs, A level.
What they also that was called O levels. So,
O levels. Uncle, did you get good grades? Did you get good grades?
No. I was horrible. I was horrible.
पढ़ाई नहीं सीखे तुझे?
No.
तो फिर तो बाद निकल गए थे कन्या तो कन्या चो निकल
Well,
गए.
so basically, पता है क्या है? The thing is, right from the age, I think, when I became sort of alert and maybe 7, 8, 9 years of age, all I know was I used to love drawing.
क्या बात है?
I used to love drawing, and all the time I used to spend drawing, and growing up, that was my passion, and I loved drawing. And like my baba, the father who adopted me, की time waste कर देना, पढ़ाया कर, बुका doctor बनना, and the grades were never suitable to become a doctor, even not even a chapadasi. Forget about a doctor,
Did he send you to like doctor school?
No. So basically, after my A levels, he said, right, okay, go to India.
तो फिर इंडिया चल गए?
So I went to India in 1970.
Okay.
One of the ideas is so basically they thought that ਉੱਥੇ तो पता bribery donation करके medical college जगह हो जाएगी. You go and become a doctor. I go, okay, fine. I will
चल गए हैं 1970.
I will went there,
So 1970 चीज पहुंच गए.
1970 में पहुंच गया होते, and so this is when I was just about 17 years of age, and also obviously it was very difficult to get admission. पहला कहते Bombay पढ़ ला, कोई relatives से.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਏ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ? ਪਹਿਲੀ ਵਾਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਗਏ ਹੋ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ?
मैं जी छोटा ਹੁੰਦਾ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ, ਪਰ basically ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾ ਮੇਰੀ ਭੂਆ ਸੀ ਖੁਸਰੋਪੁਰ, so ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ he was like my elder brother, and he was looking after me. So he took me to Chandigarh.
Chandigarh.
Jeez,
all that madness happened.
Chandigarh in those years, in 74, was so, I mean, it's still okay. Uswelena, it was just coming up. It was so beautiful.
Yeah.
And so I got into this college called Guru Gobind Singh College in Chandigarh.
Okay.
So I had to do my pre-university there, which was to do 1 year. Then I had to get into pre-med.
Okay.
So I did my first year, and ਬਤਾਈਆਂ I got pass ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਐਡਮਿਸ਼ਨ ਮਿਲ ਗਈ ਪ੍ਰੀ ਮੈਡ ਪਰ ਫਿਰ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਜਵਾਨੀ ਚੜ ਗਈ
Hey.
ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਅਵਾਰਾਗਰਦੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਫੁੱਲ ਫਲੈਗ ਨਾਲ ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਫਰੀਕਾ ਤੋਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਆ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ
Jeez.
ਮੌਜਾਂ ਲੱਗੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ
ਕਿਆ
ਨੋਬਡੀ ਰੋਕਣ ਕਿ ਕਿੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਕਦੋਂ ਆ ਰਿਹਾ ਸਕੂਟਰ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਥੇ ਚੰਡੀਗੜ੍ਹ ਦੀਆਂ ਰੌਣਕਾਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਸੋਹਣੇ ਹੋਣ ਫਿਰ ਕੁੜੀਆਂ ਫਿਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ
Yeah, no, this is what I mean. The Kenyan African in Chandigarh is there.
ਆਸ਼ਕੀ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਫਿਰ so yeah that was it that 2 years proper ਅਵਾਰਾਗਰਦੀ ਮੈਂ like ਕਿਤੇ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਈਆਂ ਪੁਣੀਆਂ ਕਿਤੇ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ so I was living in these hostels in Punjab Engineering College and so I loved painting as I said before ਉਹ ਮੇਰੇ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਆ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਪੇਂਟ ਲਿਆ ਦੇਣੇ ਕੈਨਵਸ ਲਿਆ ਦੇਣੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕਿ ਮੇਰੇ ਆਪ ਪੇਂਟਿੰਗ ਮੇਰੇ ਡੈਡੀ ਦੀ ਕਰ ਦੇਣ ਲਿਆਓ ਜੀ and I used to spend all day just painting and ਫਿਰ ਉਧਰੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਮੇਰੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਹੋਣੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ after 2 years ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਪ੍ਰੀ ਮੈਡ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਹੋਣੀ ਆਗੇ ਗ੍ਰੇਡ ਪਾਸ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਹੁਣ ਡਾਕਟਰ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰ ਦੇਣੀ ਆ let's pack up and go to India so ਇੰਡੀਆ ਆਏ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਆਏ ਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਤੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਵਾਲੇ ਦਿਨ ਸੀਗੇ ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੀਆਂ ਉੱਥੇ you have to have 90% attendance to get qualify for examination ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਸਕੂਲੇ ਜਾਓ ਤਾਂ attendance ਹੋਊਗਾ ਨਾ ਤੇ ਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਪਿੰਡ ਪਹੁੰਚਿਆ ਤੇ ਫਾਦਰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਓਏ ਤੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਕੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਤੇ ਇੱਥੇ ਐਗਜ਼ਾਮ ਹੋਣੇ ਸੀ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਲੈਕਚਰਾਂ ਛੋੜ ਕੇ ਲੈਕਚਰ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ then he understood right okay
Chapeda paying.
well fortunately not
Wait, you didn't get into your exams because you didn't turn up to lectures?
No.
I didn't know that.
Now you know today.
You can't get in because you have to be a
Well,
certain...
how many did you miss?
I don't know. I never went to college.
Oh my gosh.
I used to go now and then.
It's like the Fresh Prince, isn't it? Like the Fresh Prince, like some new kid that's just turned up with like money being sent to him.
Yeah,
He
exactly.
can do what he wants.
Ash Ball ki thi Chandigarh.
Oh, buddy. Audio story of another podcast.
What do you think the difference was when you landed in Punjab and Kenya? Did you notice a difference?
I mean, I landed in because also did I come by air? No, it was
By boat, you used to say.
No, we came by boat.
To the boat?
Yeah, ship.
So you came from Kenya by boat?
Yeah.
Kinni der lagi thi? How long? How long did it take?
No, actually, I went by air. No, I went by air.
Okay.
I swear you said you guys used to travel
we
by
used
ship.
to do when I was younger, we used to travel by ship.
To India?
Oh, yeah.
From Kenya to India?
Yeah.
How long would that take?
About 10 days.
10 days?
Yeah. You spend
We're going on cruises.
Beautiful. That was the best moments of my life. I used to love the staying in the boat at night. I mean, all the 7 days now running around in the boat, and raat nu can screen la ke movie films dikhaniyan raat nu and so beautiful. Those 10 days in boat were the best parts of my life growing up because I went when I was 4 years old, then I was 9, then I was 13. So the 3 or 4 trips I did in boat, going and coming.
Wow.
From Mombasa to Bombay, and then Bombay to Mombasa back.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਸੀ 70s ਚ ਉਦੋਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗਾ did people know straight away that you were from somewhere else like ਪਤਾ
Yeah, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਾਹਰਲਾ ਬੰਦਾ ਹੈ.
They know innit people in India straight away know
ਹੁਣ ਵੀ ਪਤਾ ਲੱਗ ਜਾਂਦਾ.
Yeah, even now.
Yeah.
Even now, some guy was like to me, tried to get in my hair. He's like, "What is this? Is this real?" I was like, "Yeah, mate, it's real."
Some geezer tried to hold my hand, bro. I was standing in Amritsar and we went to see the Golden Temple and we were just waiting outside. These guys were shopping or something. And mate, he was just next to me. He just started edging closer and closer to me, trying to hold my hand. Like, what are you doing?
What you know what I mean? We used to hold our hands with each other as a good friends. My best friend of mine, he used to sleep. ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਸੌਣ ਦੇਣਾ ਇਕੱਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਤੇਰੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੌਣਾ.
Yeah, I think
it was so much love there was. I mean, that's what I really felt over there when I was in Chandigarh. That bond of friendship. Oh, I had some amazing friends. Really, really, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਜਾਨ ਦੇਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਏਦਾਂ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ.
ਕਿਆ ਬਾਤ ਹੈ.
Yeah, it was really, really nice.
So, could you speak Punjabi? So, did you, when you were growing up, because I know Kenny speaks Swahili, did you also speak Punjabi growing up?
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਨਰੋਬੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੱਡੇ as we were growing up, ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਨਾ.
Oh wow.
ਹਰ ਇੱਕ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਵਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਇੱਕ ਘਰ ਦੇ 4-4 5-5 ਫੈਮਲੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸੀਗੇ ਮਿਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਘਰਾਂ ਦੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਫਿਰ ਇੱਕ ਦੂਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਸੀ ਘਰਾਂ 'ਚ ਸਾਡੇ ਮਦਰ ਫਾਦਰ ਵੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ
I think that's important though, because
Yeah.
if you think about it, Uncle, yeah, and I'll get touch to you as well. But you know, I think it's mad, yeah, how they grew up in Kenya and they learned Swahili, but they also preserved Punjabi language. But now, we, like us youngsters that are from Punjab or from different countries and England, a lot of them are forgetting their Punjabi, or let's just say Swahili, and they only know how to speak English.
Yeah.
What do you firstly, I want to ask you, what do you think of that? I want to jump to Uncle afterwards.
No, it's true. Like I think, like for example, me, I can speak Punjabi. It's okay, but the only reason I can speak Punjabi is growing up, I would speak Punjabi at home with my grandma. Like she would live in the house with us, or like my dad was adopted, so I was super lucky. I had 3 sets of grandparents, right? So one set of grandparents lived with us, and my nana lived just up the road. My baba, my grandma lived elsewhere. So the only way you could speak to them was in Punjabi. They could speak English, but they wouldn't speak English to you. They would speak in Punjabi. So because you were forced to speak Punjabi to them, that would continue. But then with like my dad, my chachas, my mamas, because they were all like relatively young when they came here, I think some of them were born here as well, right? So some of them were born here. Their first language was English. So because we're speaking English in the household amongst each other, we're not speaking that much Punjabi. And it's not like, you know, I don't think it's fair to assign blame because you're adapting to the environment that you're in. But the consideration is that if you're not speaking that at home as your like mother tongue, like these guys did in Kenya, like he's describing, the language is going to go.
ਪਰ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਘਰ ਚ ਕਦੀ ਸਵਾਹਿਲੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਬੋਲਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉੱਥੇ?
ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਹਲੀ ਦਾ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਆਲੇ ਦੁਆਲੇ ਦੁਕਾਨਾਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਹੱਟੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਅਫਰੀਕਾ ਦੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਸੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਆਹ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਉੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੋਹਲੀ ਪਿਕਅਪ ਹੋਈ ਨਾਲ ਚੁੱਡਰ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਤੋਂ ਹੀ ਯੂ ਨੋ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੋਰ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਅਫਰੀਕਾ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਖੇਡਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਬੋਲਣੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਨਾਲ ਯੂ ਨੋ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਪਿਕਅਪ ਹੋਈ ਸਾਰੀ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਸਾਡੀ. So for me, it was like growing up, learning Punjabi as my base, and then Swahili as I was.
And then English, you were just...
English was obviously, school on the English,
Wow.
so English picked up
That's
from there.
mad.
Yeah.
I think it was a British colony still at that time, right? Kenya.
Just, fairly. It was,
I think it became independent in the
60,
50s.
60, 61, 62, something.
It's all like the British Raj.
Yeah,
We're all
no.
products of the British Raj.
But no, but it's amazing because, Uncle, like you said, you went to Chandigarh, you went to India. If you didn't know how to speak Punjabi, then I think you wouldn't have had that as good time because of communication barrier, right?
Yeah.
So that's mad because even with me, I feel like even me connecting to you, I can speak to you in English, but when I speak to you in Punjabi, I connect. मैं थोड़ी different level ते connect कर सकता because there's a different. ते हुन जो तू India च सीगे, उत्ते देर कितनी देर रहे India च?
So I stayed in India till about 73. 73 end of 73, 74 I came back to UK.
You came to UK?
Yeah. So basically जो मेरे बाबा जी ने फादर उन्होंने क्या किया वो समझ गया कि इन्हें हवाला कर दिया डॉक्टर नहीं मारना उन छुट्टी छड़ के उन्होंने कहते उन्होंने तू की करना and at that time you know when somebody who was living in Africa they were all British passport holders anyway, so when they left Africa they would give it a stamp saying look if you don't settle in India for after 6 months you can apply for UK.
Okay.
So father ne to ki karna kyunki mere jehde original parents sige wo sare London sige UK.
Oh, they were already in London?
Yeah. Because I was adopted. I grew up in a different family and although we like made jehdi original family sige ਉਹ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਤਕਰੀਬਨ you know 15-20 ਮਿੰਟ ਦੂਰ ਰਹਿੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਤੋਂ ਸੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਸਿਸਟਰ ਸੈਪਰੇਟ ਪਲੇ ਆ ਮੈਂ ਸੈਪਰੇਟ ਪਲਿਆ
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕਦੀ ਫੀਲ ਹੋਇਆ have you feel upset ever?
I really don't know I mean but I knew ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਦੱਸ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਡੈਡੀ ਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਮੰਮੀ ਆ ਤੇਰੇ ਭਰਾ ਆ so I knew ਕਿ ਉਹ ਕੀ ਹੋ ਰਿਹਾ
but like I want to know if you want to answer it's fine but I want to know this ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨਾਲ grow up ਕਰਨ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਨਾਲ ਹੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਦੀ separation feeling?
I didn't really feel anything like that never ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲਦੇ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀਗੇ you know it was like I hadn't seen them, but I don't know what, but I knew what was going on somehow. Okay, yeah, I can understand that koi kid niya, so I'm okay, fine.
It was common, isn't it, in that time as well?
Yeah, it was something, yeah. But because we were living together as a family, it was never I could go and spend a night with my brothers and sisters. while they were growing up, and they used to come and stay somewhere.
It was
So
very
it was very close that way. Yeah, so I never actually felt that. But they left Kenya a long time ago. So I think they left him in '69.
Okay.
Yeah, they came to UK. My dad came to UK and he started working here. And
What did your dad do, if you don't mind me asking?
he was a watchmaker.
Wow.
Yeah. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅਡਾਪਟ ਕੀਤਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੰਮ ਸਿਖਾ ਲਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ
Okay.
ਉੱਥੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਉੱਥੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਬਾਬਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਕਵਾੜੇ ਦੁਕਾਨ ਸੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਘੜੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਸ਼ੌਂਕ ਸੀ ਘੜੀਆਂ ਦਾ
When you were in India, did you come to the UK? Were you married when you in India then came here?
No, I wasn't married then. So I came basically in '74. I was 20. I had my 21st birthday when I came here in Kenya. Giovanni.
In here in the UK.
Yeah, UK.
Where did you land? Where did you go?
Well, they used to live in Plasto.
Okay.
Yeah. They were. That's where they were living.
Plasto, yeah?
Yeah.
So you landed here at 21.
Yeah.
And what did you do first thing?
Well, basically, I was now bonding with my brothers and the family. So we were all living together. My parents were obviously, so we were a huge family living in like a 3-bedroom house.
How many people?
So it was 6, about 10 of us.
Whoa. 10 people.
Yeah.
Wow.
In Kester Park Road.
Is it?
Yeah.
10 people in one house?
Yeah.
Wow, and Plasto.
Yeah.
ਤੇ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਕਿਹੜਾ ਕੰਮ ਕੀਤਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ?
Well, that was another story again. So now, before I had only one dad, now I had my 2 dads. I was living with my 2 dads.
Wow.
They were, my original daddy was not like my adopted dad, who was much kinder. And
Wow, I need to know about
this guy was saying, he was like ferocious. I'm not ferocious, but
sucked.
He would never hit me, but he would. So this is dono batalia ek din mainu kehde ki khana main kha main padhna dekh liya kar pad ke aaya tu Africa te India sare chand chade sare dekh sab dekh liya si utte hun tu ki padhna hai tu atte oda kar insurance da job nahi ta Ford ja ke kaam kar tenu Ford te naukri la dena ja ke line de kaam kar
Ford the car.
Ford car, Ford assembly plant. Go and work there te tu nahi pad purn hona tu time chhad ke dekh main kha nahi main padhna ki padhna I don't know main padhna hai. And so then basically
Parna is the cover, innit? When you study, you can do you can get away with it because you're studying. I can do whatever I want. You study, yeah.
So basically, actually, what happened was I was walking around in East Ham, and the East Ham College of Technology, opposite the town hall.
Okay.
And I saw a sign there saying East Ham, saying a college course in art and design.
Oh.
So obviously that was my passion. That's something what I want to do. And my father ne jaake kiya that's when hun tu aa ho shuru kar liya kaam ki banna tu art karke ye koi paise milne aa je wo
Babaji must have lost his shit, man.
Were they angry? Because I think doing something like arts, even till now, because normally people apne culture ch log kida kehinde ki do science, medicine, engineer.
That was it. Ki banna hai ki banna drawing karke paise roti khani hai ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਕਮਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਜਾਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਣਾ ਬੱਚੇ ਹੋਣੇ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਕਮਾਉਣੀਆਂ
I get that every day. I still get that every day. I get that every day. You do TikTok videos. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਹਾਲੇ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਕਹੀ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੈ. Yeah.
So yeah, look, I want to do that. Okay, so anyway, they paid for my fees. So that was the first course, was 1 year course in art and design foundation course. The ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਫਿਰ then you can go for a degree because in the course you basically shows you which area you really like. So I went from there to do 3-dimensional design, which is known as product design.
Hey.
So I went to Teesside Polytechnic. I did my B honors there. So I got 2-1 degree, which was yes.
Wow, same. You got 2-1.
2-1, yeah.
Same. Me too.
Yeah. So and obviously immediately right.
Ooh.
That was it. No job yet. That was it.
Degree मिल गई बस.
Yeah, degree
checklist, man.
Yeah, ਵਿਆਹ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ ਮੁੰਡੇ ਦਾ ਚੱਕ ਕੇ.
ਕਿੰਨੀ ਉਮਰ ਸੀ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਏ? ਕਿੰਨੀ? How old were you?
I was 24.
24. Oh, so 1 year older than me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So and I mean the thing is, like for me, when I was in Africa, when I was growing up with my Baba he had a passion for watching movies, Hindi film.
I have a passion for
Yeah.
watching movies too.
So basically, I grew up watching all the Hindi movies
okay.
from 60s or 50s, 60s, black and white to color film, cinema school. I saw the change from black and white to color.
So like Prithvi Raj Kapoor,
I've been
Devanand, Shammi Kapoor, Raj Kapoor, सारा तो नहीं पता है.
Yeah, सारे गाने में कोई भी गवा लो मेरे को लो.
हाँ जी.
I can do it now even.
Give me your top 3 all-time movies, Hindi movies, please.
Hindi movies.
Yeah,
Oh
top
my
3.
God. I don't know. There were so many.
Give me one that you.
Gumrah was very nice.
Kedi? Gumrah.
Yeah, black
Okay.
and white. Beautiful film, And I saw that in the ship at
Wow.
night. Yeah, I remember that film.
क्या पता नहीं. Gumrah.
Gumrah.
Wow.
What's that mean?
Like
Lost away.
Lost away, like disappeared. Gumrah.
Somebody who's lost.
Oh,
Gumrah.
okay.
What you into Hindi movies, bro?
No, man.
You know what's Hindi movies? He's like, nah.
No, man.
No, you know what it was like growing up. That you had no choice. Like it's on in the background. You don't understand what's going on, and you're like, "Oh my god, I'm so bored right now." So like, we grew up.
Really?
Yeah. We grew up like just because we didn't understand it, and like no one explained it to us. We didn't understand Hindi. We just about understood Punjabi, and they're watching these Hindi films, and then there's a song. It's a 6-hour film, song every 3 minutes. And we're bored out of our faces, and like we're fighting with each other and getting told off. So we're like, this. I don't know, like we just never ever connected with it.
Oh,
Never
okay.
connected with it.
I love Hindi movies.
Yeah.
I
So
absolutely love them.
my cousin's the same. Like he's like he's my younger cousin. Like loves Hindi movies, but that's because his mom, like she was an absolute, like she was in love with them, and then she used to sit there and watch them with him, and like she used to teach him. So he loves them, but for us it was like. I mean, he's one out of like 24 of our cousins that loves them. Everyone else is like, nah.
So, Uncle, talking about
So
Go
basically,
on.
the reason I mentioned this was, okay, so within Tilbara, in the Hindi movies, is this about, basically, your devotion to your parents, उन्होंने इच्छा पूरियां करनियां, make their dreams come true, sacrifice your own happiness. All that was like built into I was brainwashed into believing that, okay, this is what you should be doing.
I still get that. मैंने हाल भी कहते रहते हैं.
So,
मैं तो जवाब दूंगा ही नहीं अपने parents को कभी. That's true though, isn't it?
Exactly. So basically, when they said you have to get married, I said, well, that thing came in my mind, and I said, oh, fine, let's do it for their happiness. Not because I wanted to do it, but I did because I wanted to make them happy, because it was their happiness. And
Sorry to interrupt you, Uncle. एक secondly. You know how you said कि devotion, family, अपने parents ले. Do you think now you've got your own sons? Do you think you saw that? Do you think that was now going back to it? Do you think if he said to him now, let's just say he was 24 now and said, you're getting married. Do you think ਹੁਣ apply ਕਰ ਉਹ ਜਿਹਦਾ rules parents ਲਈ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ? Do you think the same sort of devotion is still the same or no? Do you think it can?
I think it really depends how they have grown up, the way they have grown up and how they feel about all this thing. Like, because I said, mine was because I saw these movies and like our mind doesn't know whether it's a reality or it's a story. It believes in what he's seeing. And that's for my mindset was like, yes, this is what I think, I believed it and I accepted that's what my, as a human being or as a person, that's a good way of, being
a good son.
Being a good son. That was it really. So that's why I did it. And, because if I had said no, they would have been disappointed. And I didn't want
the guilt.
I didn't go through that. So anyway, so we got married, and then I said, look, I still want to study further, and then I went for my master's.
After you got married?
Yeah.
So wait, just to pause there, Uncle. When you said you got married, but let me know others. So was it, because I want to know this, because my Bibi and Baba met, they didn't meet. They met on the day and that's it, done, finished.
So, yeah, mine was arranged marriage, basically. Come and see me, मुंडे ने देख लिया, कुड़ी ने देख
Was
लिया.
एक ही कुड़ी नु मिले सीगे? The multiple you
No,
met?
just one. Yeah.
You met one, you
No
met,
Tinder, man.
No,
No
but
swiping.
the option, like you're a good looking guy, like million or like तुसी क्या नहीं कि million?
I you know what, with me was like, I didn't want to be the part to make a decision. You decide. I tell to my mom and dad, you decide. You like the girl? They say we like the girl. Fine.
Wait, what do you?
That's it.
Do you think you
Could you imagine?
No,
Could
can you do
imagine?
that? If
Well,
your dad
let my
says-
parents decide.
Yeah.
No, man. No way.
So you were happy with that?
Yeah.
Uncle, this is you don't think he met Hari life janani like
There was, as I said, like my mindset was at that time, whatever makes you happy. I mean, I think from what I remember, I just saw her from the corner of my eye, just for about 2 seconds or something. I didn't even see her properly.
That's a major roll of the dice.
Yeah, I know.
Do you know what I mean? You're letting your parents decide that for you.
2 seconds, and this is a person you're going to spend the rest of your life with.
I just said, look, my cousin sisters came, my sister came. I just asked her, what do you think? And they said, yeah, she's nice. I said, fine. If you think she's nice, she's nice.
No icks, no red
nothing,
flags,
man.
no green flags. Uncle,
No, none of that,
Uncle,
none of
he's
that.
not your pug. Nowadays, you get girls saying, his pug's red, that means it's a red flag. His pug's green. None of
Any
that.
excuses.
Wow.
And he's going on the opinion of
His dad.
like his dad or his sister or his cousin sisters. What do you think? They're saying yes. Like, that's crazy. Plus, I think the fact that he grew up on Bollywood movies meant that he grew up with that vision of whatever romance was in those films. So he must have just believed in that. Like,
Yeah, well, I don't know. I mean, that's really what happened.
So when after you got married, सारा ब्याह हो गया, सारा कुछ हो गया, तो you studied again.
So I did my master's.
Oh, wow.
So my wife was staying with me. Then we stayed in Manchester.
Oh, what university did you go? University of Manchester?
Manchester University.
Oh, wow.
It was called Manchester Polytechnic at that time.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
It explains the red.
Yeah. So basically after that, then obviously, then it was like, okay, I'm not get a job, this, that, and the other. And then the real hardship begins in life. And by that time, this guy was on the way. As a bit, he was, we were expecting him. And then at that time we were living in Manchester, and he was born.
Were you working then, or you just studying?
No. I was, I was still finished my studies when he was born. Yeah.
So financially, to get to Manchester,
Yeah.
अपनी wife ला.
So because I used to get a grant and all that, so I was okay for the
Money.
And then because Sari family, like my wife's side and my brothers and everybody, majority of them, they were all in London. So we had a lot of functions, because our birthday, so we had to, travel. We said, let's go to London. Just forget about Manchester. So we came and we came to stay in Green Street when we came in first time. And we, so that's where
You've traveled everywhere. You're like Columbus, you're like the Sing Columbus. Like you've traveled
passport of the world.
Yeah, you've traveled everywhere. Kenya, India, London.
My man went to, check this, he's a massive cricket fan, right? I won't start that conversation just yet because that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah.
But I remember one time, I don't know, we're like, where's Pop's gone? And my mum was like, oh, he's gone with his friend to South Africa to watch cricket. I was like, what do you mean? He goes, yeah, he's gone for 2 weeks to watch a Cricket World Cup in South Africa. Yeah. Didn't even tell us. He just went.
You're very spontaneous, isn't it, Uncle?
Yeah, I like that. I don't like. I get bored with planning, and all that.
Me too, man.
I want, if I want to do something, I want to get up and do it. That's it, done.
I have to rate my dad for that. I think that's the one thing that kind of saved us from being like sensible good boys, is the way that he was. Like mum, if it was down to my mum, we would have gone down the same route that they tried to take my dad down. Like go to school, study, get a degree, get a good job, do the checklist thing. But because of the journey my dad went through and the things that he used to kind of say to us growing up, meant that we knew that there was an alternative. We didn't know exactly what that alternative was, but you didn't have to go down that route. And the way that he was and the way that his brothers were as well, meant that we just grew up with a completely different perspective on what was possible in life.
We've got a lot of talent in the family. From artists to fencing to a lot
my boy is an artist.
Wow.
And that's how these guys grew up. So we grew up with this really alternative family. I mean, saying that, Gogo Chacha's a cancer research doctor. One of them was a pharmacist.
You got both. You got both worlds. You got the expected and you got the unexpected.
Right.
That's so crazy to me. They want to the uncle to get to the Green Street move ho gaye.
Hanji.
वो काम उधर शुरू कितना कुछ?
No, so basically, so we were living in this Green Street flat, and I realized, oh my God, I gotta go find a job, because at that time there was quite a lot of discrimination. Although I was like going for interviews to become a product designer, they liked my work, they liked my drawings, whatever. I think the discrimination came a lot at that time, and I didn't get any job.
This is during the 80s.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, 75s, 80s. Yeah, exactly.
So how was it? How was it? If you talk about discrimination, that time growing up, that time being a Sikh Asian man, did you get?
It was, I think, things were just beginning to ease off towards the Indians and the Sikhs at that time. Because when I came in 70, before when I was 21, when I came in 74, there was a lot of skinheads around in East London at that time. And I mean, I didn't know what this hatred was because I've never experienced or never knew something like that. It was only when I used to, my brother used to say, we used to come to East Ham and he said, look, don't go out to the skin. What are skinheads? Well, yeah, and then I began to understand what they were. And, it was quite, for them, they were very scared. I wasn't that scared because obviously I had grown up seeing all that. But then I realized soon, okay, these guys,
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ skinhead ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੱਸ ਸਕਦੇ please uncle ਕੀ skinhead ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ?
Well, I mean, as I said, for me it was like, who are they? And then, it's only when I saw these guys who were like, barbul katte and they're wearing these nose rings and earrings and probably like alcoholic expressions and I could see their, like hatred towards us.
ਬਹੁਤ hate ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ.
ਬਹੁਤ hate ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ.
Really?
Yeah, and you could see them, they wanted to like just kill you on the spot. And that's the kind of expressions they were giving.
So did you like when you were walking, did you used to see did they ever chat shit to you?
They used to sometimes, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but because you're in a public place, they didn't do that much aggression, but they would swear at you or maybe someone spit at you.
Wow.
Yeah.
But I think you got quite lucky. Like Chacha's experienced it more.
Yeah.
Like my baba, they lived in Plaistow. Near Plaistow Station on the main road, so he had his shop there as well, and in that area there was a lot of skinheads, right? So it's Gore, like really, really, like racist is an understatement. It was like National Front, all these kind of things, BNP, British National BNP, and all these guys. But in those times, like the 70s and the 80s, it was really violent as well. It was actually quite violent. And so outside the house, they used to get into fights. Remember Babaji told us his story once? No, was it Babaji or Chachaji? They told us his story like these guys were walking past. It started on my Baba, right? And then my Chacha came out and they got into a proper punch up with these Gori. And my Baba got one of them, threw him over a fence. And then my Chacha got into a fight with them. And then they scattered and they ran off. But they were literally fighting day in and day out for periods of time. And then luckily my dad didn't experience that much of it, but my Chacha's more so.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's a cheesy because I think there's a lot of people, I think they don't understand the severity of skinheads.
It was hard. It was really hard. But I think for somehow in a very strange way, I didn't experience any serious sort of like offenses or anything like that. I used to get them and I used to obviously walk away, or if you saw them on the street, just try and divert yourself or change your direction and avoid them. So we knew that there was this was a problem, but I didn't cut my hair.
I was going to talk about that.
Yeah,
I was generally going to ask you that because it's funny you stole the words out of my mouth. I want to say this as well. How did you like have the resilience to still have a bug on? Because I know a lot of people, and I've researched this as well, that a lot of people during that time, just to get a certain job, just to fit in, they cut their hair, shave their beard.
Yeah.
So, for example, bus drivers and police officers. I know. How did you stay strong?
I don't know. I mean, I think there was. To me, it was like this is something precious to me. This is important. This is part of me because I grew up wearing a pug every day. That had become such a big part of me, that to have not to see that missing on my head, it was like it wasn't me. So I wanted to maintain that, and I think the biggest thing was like once when I was in Teesside Polytechnic, and before I was living there by myself when Babaji was still in London, and I used to sometimes do a ponytail and go out with my friends or go to college that way, and and then when he came and I started to go out with my ponytail, he just called me back and put your pug on. never take your pug off your head. And since then, I never took my pug off in front of him. And I think it was a respect towards him as well. And I'm not a very religious guy, but I'm aware of the religion. I'm aware of what has gone through in terms of our Sikh history, and I'm aware of everything.
You uphold the respect, yeah.
But I know what it means to me. So I just, as I said, because I've been wearing it, and it's been part of my. It's like your uniform, my identity. So that's
good, man. You rep it well. You rep it well, man. You rep it very nicely, man. I gotta say that to you. Big props to you, because बहुत easy नहीं है वो time च पग बननी ते रखनी ते खुंदी की तुसी वो time च रखी भी ते कैम करके रखी कि जो लोग तो उਦੋਂ बहुत easy ਹੁੰਦਾ होगा कि remove karni. It's the easy option, but you took the hard option and you survived and you stayed strong. So did you finally land a job then?
So basically, so I couldn't find a job. Then obviously I knew, okay, look, I can't just sit at home because he was born. I think my wife was working somewhere. And so I got a job at the petrol station.
Jeez!
As a cashier.
Okay.
Yeah. So I worked as a cashier there for a while, and at least, that's when at least we had money coming in, looking after the family, paying the rent and all that. And then my Baba Jobi said, look, you better buy a house now because the kids are going to be more and all that. So fortunately, I bought a house in the Manor Park. That's where we still live.
The same house that you live in, you bought in? Bro!
You can buy 20 of them now, can you?
Whoa. No, I don't know about that. But
well, I mean, it's about, at that time, obviously, for the wages weren't that great and all that. So, yeah, sort of the same sort of thing, really.
25,000 pounds. Yeah. So how long did you work in the petrol station?
So I worked there for about, I think, 3 or 4 years. And then I became a manager in a petrol station somewhere else in Leytonstone, and I worked there for 2 years, and then I left that job to become a builder because I was getting bored with the job, and because at home you're always doing something. You're plumbing so I learn building. So a relative of mine, he was in Hounslow. And I used to travel from East London by train. And he taught me sort of building work, plumbing, tiling.
Hatta kam,
bit of carpentry and all that. And it was during that trip that, like I was having newspapers in the train. And I was reading a newspaper, and there was an advert saying, what was it? ILEA. ILEA was Inner London Education Authority.
Oh.
Training teachers for art and design courses.
Training teachers? Wow.
Apply for that.
Oh, wow.
This is me.
Yeah.
So I applied for it, and they said, okay, bring your work, bring your drawings or whatever. So when I showed them my work, they looked at my work and they said, okay, you are a good art teacher, So, so I got so they said, okay, you have to do 1 year PGCE.
Oh, yeah.
Which is postgraduate certificate education to become a teacher.
Yeah.
So I went to Avery College. Yeah, I did 1 year PGCE. And the amazing thing happened there was, right, in the PGCE, there's, like you have to use, and this was teaching, did a subject like CDT, Craft Design Technology.
Yeah.
That was my background anyway. I was a product designer. Product designer, he designs, draws, makes.
That's why you got the crisp, bro.
Well, yeah.
Look at Brandon, man. We're gonna get into the crisp. We're gonna do a little taste session after this. All of this, yeah.
Yeah. So basically, you have to have a good drawing skills and all that. And the teacher who was teaching us drawing skills, and when he saw my drawings, he said, look, I can't teach you, you have to teach us. So he used to tell me, drawings,
The real bad man.
I didn't know that.
Wow.
That's crazy. You had to teach the class, like the other students.
Yeah. Because the graphics skills, they didn't have those sort of graphics skills, the ones I had. And the drawing, the markers, whatever, the pastels. And so he was the head of department.
Mr. Picasso Super Singh, bro. I'm telling you, bro.
yeah,
You get
100%,
me,
man.
bro. You're basically a builder. You worked at a petrol. You've been to Africa. You've been to India.
Exactly.
You're an art teacher now. You've literally done it all. Literally, that's the multi-talented, man. Proper.
So basically, I did that for a year. And then graphics teacher, he was the head of CDT in William Ellis School in Highgate.
Oh, okay.
You go and teach over there. So to become a trainee teacher, he sent me over there. And then head of department, they said, right, become a teacher here. So I taught there for 4 years.
And how was it teaching there?
Oh, it was a nightmare. It was a nightmare.
Trusting this guy with 30 kids, man.
I tell you, 8 or 90 kids, they used to drive me nuts. I used to what the hell have I got myself into here? I'm teaching you drawings, man. I'm teaching you education. What are you doing? I didn't have that discipline type of mental mindset to how to control a class, how to control the kids and the discipline. And it was just so hard for me.
So you know how you said you don't have that discipline to control, discipline children. Was you quite lenient towards your son as well then, would you say? Or
I never said anything to them.
No, this guy didn't.
I never said anything to anybody. Never.
We were free lane.
No.
We were feral, man. There were points. If my dad wasn't home for periods of time, we were like into wrestling growing up.
Oh yeah.
So we would relive wrestling matches every single day. Broke everything in the house, and this guy would clap us, and my mum was losing her shit, like trying to get us to stop.
Tonu gussa nahi aanda si.
But I think I never wanted to be like I hated when bode na kende meri gal sun tu main tera pe haan.
Yeah.
And I hated that. I didn't want to be that. I want to be friends with them. Apa yaar haan, dugu apa dugu haan, let's do it.
Wow.
And let's ash karo katte okay.
That's so you man are lucky though. I'll give you.
I just wanted to be that.
You man are very lucky.
I didn't want that sort of. I hated that. I didn't want to do that with my kids. I really hated that sort of mindset. I don't care. तुसी मेरी गल सुनो मैं थोड़ा पे हाँ मैं जो मैं कहना वो करो. Even to my wife, I never said मैं तनु क्या या करना. I hated that sort of mind. People's attitude.
ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਦਾਂ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਮਾਈਂਡਸੈਟ ਇਹ ਹੋਇਆ ਬਿਕਾਜ਼ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਮਾਪਿਓ ਨੇ ਇਦਾਂ ਕੀਤਾ ਸੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਹੋਰ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਇਦਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦੇ. Is that what it is?
No, I don't know. I just I didn't.
You're just nonchalant. You just always been nonchalant.
Yeah, I've always been like that.
Why?
Like
hippie art student vibes. That's him. Like his whole life. Like,
Just a calm guy. You're just that guy. Chilled.
I never liked that sort of mindset. I hated people.
I think you were born in the wrong generation. I think you were born in the whole. I'm telling you now. I
don't know, but as I said, so and what was and the crazy thing was when I was teaching in this school, when I used to come home, I used to be very angry with my kids, and I suddenly thought, what am I doing? Bringing that mental thing, from school into home sometimes. And that's when I really, really, began to understand, okay, look, no. Then I learned how to switch off. So I used to walk out of school, I used to switch off. I don't want to care about it. Going home, enjoy. Apna sham nu enjoy karo. That's what I would.
Chill karo bas.
That's it, yeah.
तो कितनी देर के तो 4
साल होते मैं पढ़ाया फिर then there was another job advertised in a college and that was in Harrow as a lecturer. So I got a job as a lecturer there.
So you're a lecturer as well now?
Yeah. So so I was teaching in graphical communication, design technology and BTech courses they were teaching.
So the other retire हुए वही करके.
Well, so basically when I was in so we'll get to that anyway later. Yeah, so after that I taught there for about I think maybe 4 or 5 years. And again, पता है किसी का my whole when I was beginning to be like teacher and all that, I began to see look, I mean I saw first of all what I realized was this thing, I'm stuck 9 to 5 ਸਵੇਰ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਠਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ 9 ਵਜੇ ਦੌੜਨਾ ਪੈਣਾ 9 ਵਜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹੁੰਚੋ and I have to repeat that. I understood that straight away, guys. And I didn't want that. I wanted to get out of that system.
You wanted to get out the 9 to 5?
I hated it. And the other thing was these kids were very small and you used to, especially babies, they're like 2-3 years old babies. I don't know, why are you waking them up? Why are you waking them? I used to hate it. They should be lying in bed. Aram karo, ash karo, enjoy karo.
Yeah.
This is their life.
Yeah.
But we had to wake them. I mean, I was thinking, I would have had 20 teachers employed. ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਉੱਠੂਗਾ ਉਦੋਂ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਇਓ ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਾ ਨਾ ਪੜ੍ਹਾਓ
ਸਰਦਾਰੀ
ਇੰਜੋਏ ਕਰਨ ਦਿਓ ਉਹਨੂੰ
ਕੀ ਬਾਤ ਹੈ
let him enjoy because this life is not going to come back again.
Yeah.
So that was my mindset, so when I saw what was happening, and even when I became a lecturer, like I could really see straight away okay, right, ठीक है मैं जे try कर मैं head of department बन जाऊंगा ਕੱਲ੍ਹ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਬਣ ਜਾਊਂਗਾ ਮੈਂ ਮੇਬੀ ਕਾਲਜ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰਿੰਸੀਪਲ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ ਸੈਲਰੀ ਆਊਗੀ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਪਰ that was like ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ 9 ਵਜੇ ਉੱਠਣਾ ਪੈਣਾ every day ਪੈਸੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ 9 ਮੈਨੂੰ ਤਾਂ that wasn't fun for me. That was like boring thing, and I just didn't like it. It was, and that's when things were happening in the background, which was like the universal thing. Something was happening, and that's what led to where we are heading towards now, basically.
Exactly, and I want to get into that. So now talking about you started off with sources.
Yeah.
So can you tell me how this sort of avishkar is the right word? How did this sort of enter your mind?
Right. So basically, during my teaching career as in the secondary school, coming along, this is like I am in my mid-30s, I think, and just socializing, shamnu, glassy glossy time sessions, weekends, proper glorious sessions. And the thing was, like my brother, our family, my dad was like a proper Chako guy, and it was like a family tradition. If you didn't do it,
what was his favorite drink?
Chittar, famous
grouse.
Cantiam, famous chittar, So and so dad is not the one who adopted me, but my original dad. His philosophy je glass nahi pit karo nikal to pehla pee ke jaaniyan nahi ta jana nahi kite bhi pawa kise da ਵਿਆਹ ਹੋਵੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ funeral ਹੋਵੇ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ
ਕਿਉਂ ਇਹ philosophy
that's how it is
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਵੀ ਇਦਾਂ ਸੀ
ਸਾਰੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਸਾਡਾ ਕ੍ਰਿਸਮਸ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਉਹ 3-4 ਦਿਨ ਨਾ ਬਿਸਤਰੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਪੁੱਠੇ ਪਏ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ 3-4 ਦਿਨ ਨਾ ਮਨੇ ਉੱਠਣਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਪੀਣਾ ਟੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਫਿਰ ਪੈਰਾਂ ਲੱਗ ਫਿਰ ਉੱਠੋ ਫਿਰ 4 ਇਦਾਂ ਹੀ ਚੱਲਣਾ ਬਸ
and ਇਹ ਦੱਸੀ ਕਿ ਇਮੇਜਿਨ ਕਰੋ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਡੈਡ ਨੂੰ ਕਹੋ ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪੀਣੀ
ਉਹ ਛਿੱਤਰ ਖਾਣੇ ਆ
you would get beaten up for telling your dad you don't want to drink.
Yeah, exactly. You will get proper bollocking. Jacket, go.
Why? So because he wants you to drink.
Yeah, daddy won't. If you said dad no can't drink nahi pina, you are in trouble.
It's mad though. That's how he bonded with his kids.
Yeah, that was it.
Todi sister sigi koi?
Sister again.
Only
pindi si.
Oh no, girls ne bhi like apne jida
outcast.
Yeah.
We was outcast.
So jida bande okay, wow. So Christmas
proper
peg lane proper ਚੱਕ ਦੇ wow ਤੇ ਫਿਰ sauces ਦਾ
ਜੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿ ਚਿਕਨ ਵੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਵਿਸਕੀ ਚ ਹੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਟਰਕੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਵਿਸਕੀ ਚ ਹੀ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਆ without that you can't make it. Anyway, let's go back to the sauce.
Wow.
Yeah, so because of this social circle and my brothers, so at this time most of us are married, so brothers we koi kisi da birthday ho gaya kisi da kuch ho gaya, so we used to be always partying and all that, really really good time. And somehow I had a passion for doing barbecue, kebab ko banane and chicken tikka tukka and all that sort of, always going on everywhere.
I think the food thing came from grandma.
Probably, I don't know, but I just had a passion for that. I don't know why, but I'll, jado yani ki I mean, obviously, when we were in Manor Park, there was a club called Malibu Club, and ਉੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ kebab ko ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਨੇ ਉਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ passion ਜਿਹਾ ਚੜ ਗਿਆ ਸੀ kebab ko ਬਣਾਉਣੇ ਸਿੱਖਣੇ. Then I learned how to make them, ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ. So that's
just to add, Pop, sorry. So the food that my dad's making is like Kenyan style food, like Kenyan Indian style food, right? So a lot of like East Africans, they connected with the food that my dad was making because they, I don't know if you guys grew up with this type of food over there, but my dad would make those kind of like Kenyan sheikh kebabs, like bhajia, mogo. They used to make mogo. And like the mixed grills, it was a very like Kenyan style thing that they used to do, barbecued foods.
Barbecued.
And he was like, he's like the don at it.
Yeah. Basically, like when I was growing up in Kenya, on the streets there, you have this mogo. Mogo is the cassava chips. It's like ਜਿਹਦਾ ਸ਼ੱਕਰਕੰਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਸ਼ੱਕਰਕੰਦੀ ਮਿੱਠੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਉਹਦੇ ਵਰਗੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਪਰ it's more of
is it a root vegetable
like
sugar candy, sweet potato.
Sugar candy, sweet potato. ਉਹਦੇ ਵਰਗੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਪਰ ਉਹ ਮਿੱਠੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੀ.
Yam
ਵਰਗੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ.
Yeah.
So in Africa, they used to ਜਿਹੜੇ Africans ਸੀਗੇ, ਉਹ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਮਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਨਾ, they used to boil them. ਉਹ boil ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਪੀਸਿਸ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਿਰ ਨਾ ਉਹ ਚਾਰਕੋਲ ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਾਲੀ ਰੱਖ ਕੇ ਚਾਰਕੋਲ ਤੇ ਭੁੰਨਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ. ਫਿਰ ਜੋ ਭੁੰਨ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਨਾ, ਫਿਰ ਉੱਪਰੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਬਾਰਬੀਕਿਊ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ, ਬਹੁਤ ਸੌਫਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ. ਫਿਰ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਲੂਣ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਨਿੰਬੂ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਖਾਂਦੇ ਸੀ. ਐਂਡ ਇਟ ਵਾਜ਼ ਸੋ ਬਿਊਟੀਫੁਲ ਟੇਸਟੀ. ਇਜ਼ ਦਾ ਟੈਕਸਚਰ ਵਾਜ਼ ਲਾਈਕ ਗਰਮਾ ਗਰਮ. ਉਹ ਲੂਣ ਮਿਰਚ ਨੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਠੰਡੀ ਖਾ ਲੈਣਾ ਥੋੜ੍ਹਾ ਜਿਹਾ. ਐਂਡ ਯੂ ਯੂਜ਼ਡ ਟੂ ਗੈਟ ਦੈਟ very sweet, tangy, fiery taste of this mogo, with it. It was so beautiful. ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਅੰਬ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਕੱਚੇ ਅੰਬ ਹੋਣੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਸਲਾਈਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਲੂਣ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਖਾਣੇ. ਉੱਥੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਵਿਕਟੋਰੀਆਜ਼, potatoes, all lot of, and there's maru bhajia which was in Kenya, was like a very famous bhajia place. It was absolutely brilliant. ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚਟਨੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਨਾ, the sauces, we used to literally ਉਹਨੂੰ ਅਫਰੀਕਨ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਕਿ ਗਲਾਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾਣੀ ਲਾਇਆ, ਪਾਣੀ ਡੋਲਦਾ ਨਾਲ ਚਟਨੀ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਗਲਾਸ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਪੀਣੀ ਅਸੀਂ. It was so ਇਮਲੀ ਦਾ ਟੇਸਟ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ. It was like sweet, tangy, and then you get a bit of a heat there. We used to love it. Every Saturday, ਮੈਂ ਤੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਫਰੈਂਡਾਂ ਨੇ ਜਾਣਾ. We would polish bhajia and those chutneys over there. So that taste that sort of built in my memory. And when I was doing the barbecues, ਕਦੀ ਆਹ ਟੇਸਟ sauce ਖਾਣੀ ਮਜ਼ਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ, like
it's dead, isn't it?
Yeah, well, ਕਦੀ and what I used to do was ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਬਾਰਬੀਕਿਊ ਕਰਨਾ, ਮੈਂ ਕਦੀ ਟੈਸਕੋ ਜਾਣਾ, ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਆਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੀ ਟਰਾਈ, ਆਹ ਕਰਨੀ ਹੈ ਟਰਾਈ. ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਸੌਸਿਸ ਟਰਾਈ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ. ਕੋਈ ਇੰਨੀ ਖੱਟੀ, ਕੋਈ ਇੰਨੀ ਮਿੱਠੀ, ਕੋਈ ਹੈ ਸਵਾਦ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾ. ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਕਈ ਜੈਲਪੀਨੋਜ਼ ਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਬਨੇਰੋਜ਼ ਆ, ਕਿਸੇ ਸਕੌਚ ਬੋਨਟਸ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਫਲੇਵਰਸ ਆ ਗਈਆਂ, ਪਰ ਹੀਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ ਜੇ. So it was that, and that was it really. And we were having a barbecue one day, and I thought, right, I'm gonna make a sauce. I don't know why. I suddenly realized, and because but you ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਕਬਾਬਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਪਾਉਣੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ ਕਬਾਬ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨਾ ਬੰਗਾਲੀ ਲਾਲ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਛੋਟੀਆਂ ਜਿਹੀਆਂ, ਉਹ ਮੈਂ ਕੱਟ ਕੇ ਪਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ, ਤੇ ਉਹ ਬੜੀਆਂ ਖਰਾਲੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਸੀ ਸਵਾਲ. ਤਾਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਮਾਈਂਡ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਦਾ ਨਾ ਕੁਝ ਸੌਸ ਬਣ ਸਕਦੀ ਆ. ਜੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਦਿਮਾਗ 'ਚ ਆ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਇੱਕ ਸੌਸ ਬਣਾਉਣੀ ਆ. ਮੈਂ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਬੰਗਾਲੀ ਸ਼ੌਪ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਉਹ ਹਰੀਆਂ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਲਾਲ ਸਾਰੀਆਂ ਕੱਢ ਲਈਆਂ ਵਿੱਚੋਂ. ਲਾਲ ਕੱਢ ਕੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ
ਰੈਡ ਚਿਲੀਜ਼
ਛੋਟੀ ਛੋਟੀ ਬਰਡਸ ਆ ਚਿਲੀ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਉਹ ਬਲੈਂਡਰ ਜਾਂ ਕਿਚਨ ਦੇ ਮੇਰੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਦੀ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ, ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਚਨ 'ਚ ਆ ਗਿਆ ਨਾ, ਉਹਦੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਹੋਰ ਗੱਲ ਦੱਸਦਾ, ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੀਟ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ ਨਾ, ਮੈਂ ਟੇਸਟ ਕਰਨਾ ਮੀਟ, ਮੈਂ ਫਿਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਨਾ ਕਿਚਨ 'ਚ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਪਤੀਲੇ ਦੇ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਮਸਾਲੇ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨੇ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਤੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ ਖਾਤੇ, ਯੂ ਆਲਵੇਜ਼ ਗੋ ਐਂਡ ਡੂ ਯੋਰ ਓਨ ਸਟਫ, ਆਪੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਕਰੋ ਤਾਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ. That was my attitude. He wasn't give me the flavors I wanted, the taste I wanted. So I
just told your wife that her food was awful. Yeah,
that's mad. That's dangerous. That's dangerous.
Dangerous move.
So anyway, so I made this. So I blended jack down, and my wife, "Unki kar lag gaya," and I just totally ignored her. Paya, blend kita. taste us kita ali jaka paap ko jab badai na sauce, and when I tasted it was like wow, it just kicked like everything in my mouth said this is it. This was so tasty. I had the saltiness and the sweetness, and then the tomato the flavor on the picho bird's eye jaake mukka maar di hundi hai taad karda mukka ja marya na heat da. I said this is beautiful. They udhar kebab ko bana jo sara chutney try kiti na brothers we sikhaaye, they all said they was so beautiful sauce, bahut mazedar. ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਤਾਂ ਬਸ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਨਾ ਸੈਸ਼ਨ ਹੀ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਮੇਰੇ ਬ੍ਰਦਰ ਕੇ ਬਾਬਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਰ ਚਟਨੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਈ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ, ਮੇਕ ਸ਼ੋਰ ਬ੍ਰਿੰਗ ਦ ਸੌਸ ਵਿਦ ਯੂ। ਸੋ ਮੇਰਾ ਉਹ ਕੰਮ ਹੀ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਕਿਤੇ ਬਾਬਜੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਮੇਕ ਸਮ ਸੌਸ ਟੇਕ ਇਟ देयर ਵਿਦ ਦੈਮ।
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਾਰਾ ਯਾਦ ਸੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਪਾਇਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ
ਯਾਦ ਸੀਗਾ, ਇੰਗਰੀਡੀਐਂਟ ਇੰਨਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਕਿੰਨਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਟੇਸਟ ਦਾ ਕੀ ਆ। ਸੋ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਹੁਣ ਲੂਣ ਥੋੜਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਮਿੱਠਾ ਘੱਟ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਆਹ ਪਾਉਣਾ ਆ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਕਿੰਨਾ।
you tried it as well, the sauce?
No, we were like quite young at that time, but so basically this continues. So my dad would like moonlight as a chef now at these like East African members clubs in East London.
ਉੱਥੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ?
No, we're not.
ਅਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਗਏ ਸੀ।
Hale, we're still.
Oh, okay, but yeah, we're too young.
ਸੌਸ ਹੀ ਬਣੇ ਆ।
I had the sauce bana rahe
We were too young.
stuff into
We
the
were too
cloud.
young.
Yeah.
So
But we've got it. That's why it says on the packs and on the original bottle, established in 1985. That's when my brother was born.
Yeah.
And it was one of these parties that summer that this sauce was created.
yeah,
ਇਹ ਵਿੱਚ ਹੈਗੀ ਨਾ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਹੜੀ sauce?
sauce ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ।
Oh, okay. We'll talk about the sauce.
It's-
But that sauce that you said.
Yeah.
So how did you take that further?
So basically, and so ਉੱਥੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਨਾ ਕਿ ਸਾਡੇ I was still in the school teaching, so the barbecue artists, family events were happening, and every weekend we would go to this members club in East London. ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਕਬਾਬ ਕੋ ਬਣਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਕੋਈ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਗੁਜਰਾਤੀ ਸੀਗਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਯਾਰ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਥੇ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਖਾਣ ਖੂਣ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ ਗਾ। ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਤੂੰ ਸਟਾਰਟ ਕਰ ਦੇ। ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਈਡੀਆ ਸੀ ਕੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਵੀ। ਸੋ ਐਨੀਵੇ ਕਬਾਬ ਕੂਬ ਬਣਾਉਣੇ ਆਉਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ, ਕਿ ਉਹਦਾ ਘਰ ਬਣਾਈ ਦੇ ਸੀ, ਟਿੱਕੇ ਟੁੱਕੇ ਵੀ ਬਣਾ ਲਈਦੇ ਸੀ। ਭਜਿਆ ਸਗੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਲਿਆ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ। ਮੈਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਸ਼ੁਰੂ ਕਰਤਾ ਕੰਮ ਕਿਚਨ ਦਾ। ਮੈਲੀ ਕਲੱਬ ਜਾਣਾ। ਹੁਣ ਮੈਂ ਸਕੂਲੋਂ ਆਉਣਾ ਪੜ੍ਹਾ ਕੇ 3:30 4 ਵਜੇ ਆ ਜਾਣਾ, 6 ਵਜੇ ਉੱਥੇ ਵੜ ਜਾਣਾ ਮੈਲੀਬੂ ਕਲੱਬ 'ਚ। ਉਸ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਭੁਜਿਆ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ। ਸੋ ਉਹ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਦੇ ਮੈਂ ਦਹੀਂ ਦੀ ਚਟਨੀ ਵੀ ਬਣਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਸੀਗਾ।
Oh, I remember that.
ਦਹੀਂ ਦੀ ਨਾਲ ਮਿੱਠੀ, ਉਹ ਥੋੜੀ ਸਵੀਟ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਸੀ। ਸੋ I had this
Mint sauce,
very
man.
hot chili sauce and I had this mint sauce. ਉਹ ਜੋ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਕੱਚੇ ਨੇ ਕਬਾਬ ਕੋ ਖਾਣੇ ਨੂੰ, ਕਈਆਂ ਬੰਦਿਆਂ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਪਸੰਦ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਥੋੜਾ ਦਹੀਂ ਪਾ ਦੇ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਦਾ ਥੋੜਾ ਮਿਕਸਚਰ ਕਰਾ ਕੇ ਆਪੇ ਬਣਾ ਲੈਂਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਫਿਰ।
Wow.
ਸੋ ਐਵਰੀਬਡੀ ਕੁਡ ਮੇਕ देयर ਓਨ ਕਿ ਉਹਨੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਮਿਰਚਾਂ ਵਾਲੀ ਖਾਣੀ ਆ ਜਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਖਾਣੀ। ਸੋ ਬਿਕੋਜ਼ ਐਜ਼ ਟੂ ਸੌਸਸ ਦੇ ਆਲ ਕੰਪਲੀਮੈਂਟਡ ਈਚ ਅਦਰ। ਬਟ ਦ ਕਬਾਬਸ ਕੋ ਭੱਜਿਆ ਐਂਡ ਉੱਥੋਂ ਮੇਰਾ ਕੰਮ ਚੱਲ ਪਿਆ।
And then you
So I was teaching in the mornings, and in the evenings I used to do that Saturday, Sunday. That's my journey started, and my sauce became a very integral part of it. On Pellan, I think used to charge me like £40 rent per week for hiring the kitchen.
yeah.
ਉਹਨੇ ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਪੈਸੇ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ ਆ। ਉਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਮੇਰੇ ਪੈਸੇ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਵਧਾ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਦਿਸ ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਛੱਡ ਕੇ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨਾ। ਮੈਂ ਛੱਡ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਫਿਰ।
ਹਾਂ।
and they feel so I think I was become a lecturer in college. ਤਾਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਫਿਰ ਪਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਛੱਡਿਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਉਹ ਇਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਉਹਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਤਾ ਸੀਗਾ। ਸੌਰੀ ਉਹਨੇ ਬੰਦ ਕਰਕੇ ਨਾ ਉਹਨੇ ਆਪਣੀ ਕਿਚਨ ਉੱਥੇ ਐਜਵੇਅਰ ਖੋਲ ਲਈ ਸੀ, ਮੈਲੀਬੂ ਕਲੱਬ ਇਨ ਐਜਵੇਅਰ। ਉੱਥੇ ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਮੈਲੀਬੂ ਕਲੱਬ ਹੈਗਾ। ਇਫ ਯੂ ਗੋ ਐਵਰ ਟੂ ਐਜਵੇਅਰ there's a club called Malibu. ਉੱਥੇ that's a club. So and I think that's when we had the car accident in India in 96. Yeah, exactly. And so anyway, then there was this another guy, another club opening up in Ilford in East London. And jehde owner se na, they were looking for a Sikh guy from Nairobi, Africa, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨਾ ਖਾਣਾ ਖੁਣਾ ਅੱਛਾ ਬਣਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੋਵੇ।
You innit? You. They're describing you.
So basically this guy knew that the owner I used to work for, or the one who was ਪਹਿਲਾਂ kitchen said they were very good friends. So ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ look I know somebody. So ਉਹਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਿ ਸਿੰਘ ਤੋਂ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ, they will, they're looking for a chef guy. So and in between that what had happened was I think I started the trailer before that, didn't I?
The trailer was
Well before that.
well before that.
yeah.
I think it was between Malibu Club and
Yeah,
Jimmy's.
Jimmy, yeah.
Then, so basically one day, so we're used to my dad doing these things now, right? So like, sometimes he'd come home and he's got some random design project and he's doing these design things. And then one day he came home and we come home from school and there's this, like food trucks were a thing a little while back.
Yeah.
This guy was doing food trucks before there were food trucks, right? So outside our house in East London, like, what is that outside of our house? And then we looked at this box, this truck, and there's a wire going up over the tree in our top bedroom window. And we go in the house, we're like, what's this, Mum? Your dad's bought something. And she's pissed off, right? My mum is vexed. And basically the wire was plugged into the socket in their bedroom and it was powering this food truck that this guy had bought.
There's a fridge in there.
There was a fridge in there. And then that basically became like his part-time business. So I remember I was young at that time, maybe like 8, 9 years old, maybe, I don't know how old I was. About 4 o'clock, 4:30 in the morning on Saturdays, we used to get up, jump in the car. I remember I used to take Wheatos in a little plastic pot with some milk in it for breakfast, drive to like Southend, drive to all these different places, and he would set up making kebabs in these like food markets.
Yeah.
ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ Saturday Sunday ਨੂੰ ਕਰਦੇ ਸੀ
Yeah.
And then he used to...
So that's after the Malibu Club because it was band ho gaya
ਤੇ
siga.
ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ teach ਵੀ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਸੀ ਜਾਂ ਆਪ ਵੀ ਕਰੀ
Teach ਵੀ ਕਰ Yeah, I was still teaching. Yeah, I was jobs was 9 to 5, 9 to 4 jobs sige. Sham nu weekends this was going on.
Wow.
Yeah, there's a 9 to 5 job, then a 5 till 9 job.
So basically between this time I met ਸਾਡੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਘਰ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਨਾ ਵੀਡੀਓ ਸ਼ਾਪ ਸੀਗੀ ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਬੰਗਾਲੀ ਮੁੰਡਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਅਬਦੁਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਫਰੈਂਡ ਐਂਡ he's become a friend of mine, is my business, very good friend of mine. He was also into restaurant. ਉਹਦਾ ਵੀ restaurant ਸੀ ਉਹ ਬੰਦ ਹੋ ਗਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ because for some reason, but he was a good chef. He knew about cooking, he knew about restaurants, he knew about everything. So we had become very good friends of mine. And ਫਿਰ ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਜਦੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਟ੍ਰੇਲਰ ਆਇਆ ਨਾ he became a partner of mine. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਲੋਕ ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਪੈਸਾ ਨਹੀਂਗਾ ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਕਿ I'll help you. ਮੈਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਚੱਲ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਫਿਰ ਉਹ ਨਹੀਂ Western International Market South ਅਸੀਂ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਸੀਗੇ every day.
What? The Bulls Bridge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Every Saturday, Sunday ਅਸੀਂ ਸਵੇਰ ਨੂੰ 5 ਵਜੇ ਆਣਾ ਗੱਡੀ 'ਚ ਹਿੱਟ ਉਹ ਕਰਕੇ take the trailer there, do some come there, come back, and we used to do that. So that was all going on before that. So this Gym Khana then came up, and then ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਕਿ look, we don't ਮੈਂ ਕਰ ਦਾਂਗਾ no problem. ਤੇ ਮੇਰਾ friend ਸੀਗਾ because he was like a restaurant guy, he knew more about it. So ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ look up on my restaurant, ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਲਾ let's do it. He's become a very good friend of mine. So ਅਸੀਂ ਦੋਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਬੈਠ ਕੇ ਨਾ we started this Gym Khana, and you know, like as he took off.
Wow.
Proper took off, man. We used to be packed. Weekends, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, you couldn't get a table.
Wow.
People used to fly in.
Yeah.
Fly in for the food. And then this is where you'd have the sauce, right?
Yeah. This was,
and the same way, like, he was describing when they were in Kenya taking the sauce away and drinking it. People used to do that with his chili sauce.
Yeah.
They used to come, take a container. You know those old school like takeaway silver, like a boat? They used to fill that up, and they used to take the sauce, and they used to come for the sauce and the food.
And you know, they would say, कितने पैसे आपने पंजाबी ले जा यार छड़ के दे पैसे की करने हैं. It was never that mindset कि you know पैसे आप बेचने तू you like the sauce, that's all good enough for me. तू ले जा बस enjoy कर तू जाके. That was my mindset. And so basically, so that carried on, and the Gym Khana became a very popular restaurant and all that. And then ਉੱਥੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇੱਕ ਦੋ ਬੰਦੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, why don't you bottle it and sell it? I'm like, what? How? Why? Because it's a beautiful sauce. People will buy it. And like, okay, let's try it. And so that's when I looked into it, and you know, you don't know nothing about it. What do you do? You know, and I went to advise at the Stratford Maya Business Center ਤੇ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੋ ਮੈਂ ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ. ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਜੀ ਏਦਾਂ ਕਰੋ ਜਾ ਕੇ go and have a look at a bottle with the sauce. ਉੱਥੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਕਿ ਲੇਬਲ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਦਾ ਹੈਗਾ, ਕੀ ਬਣਦਾ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਣਾ ਕੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਦਿਓ. And so I used to look at the bottle ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਸੀਗੀ. And then obviously, you know, like I didn't know ਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਆਪਣੀ bottle ਆਪਣਾ brand name ਕੀ ਕਰਾਂ, what do I call it, you know? ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਪੈ ਰਹੀ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਹੌਲੀ ਹੌਲੀ ਲੇਬਲ ਤੇ you need nutrition information, you need you know the calories ਕਿੰਨੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, energy and all that, कि sauce की है पर brand name की होएगा. And because I was with my brothers all the time, very, सारे कहते की हो रहा कितना की जा रहा. So we used to talk about मेरे adventures, whatever everybody was doing. And my brothers, we were just like having a chat one day, and I said, I've got this sauce now and almost ready to do something. But I can't think of a brand name. And my younger brothers, why don't you call it Mr. Singh's?
Jeez.
I fell in love with that name. Like, oh yeah, this is it. I
Jeez,
fell in
Mr.
love with
Singh's. Okay.
So, also like, obviously मैं design पढ़ा है, ऐसे मैं बहुत a graphic designer बन गया ऐसे. So my design logo design किया. And
You yourself?
yeah, I did all the design logo and everything. And then obviously, I realized that you have to patent that because, I understood all that. So I got that registered, patented it, got the labels done.
Wow.
And then obviously you have to have the shelf life testing done. Okay, that's what I was told. Okay, you have to, because the package ki thia koi bottle onu kinda long shelf se rakh sakde hain before. So all the testing was done. So once I got everything ready, then I got it to the shops, and also the local shop jithe Gym Khana se na, I started, and people started buying it, and it started moving, and I used to take it, and yeah, I started selling. It wasn't like multi, but it was good for me. I mean, sweet shops, I think I must have started done about 5 or 10 different shops, but I wasn't selling magic, but people were starting buying it, and they would say, oh, he's coming really nice. And then another story started after that.
The crisp.
No.
No, that's essentially how that's like where we kind of came in. So like we used to work. We've all done our time at Gym Khana, right? We all used to do our
Is Gym Khana still about or?
Nah.
Yeah, it's still about, yeah.
It's been bought over now by someone else.
So wait, sorry to interrupt you, just so I know. So uncle, when you were talking about the sauces, it was Mr. Singh's sauces, right? Yeah. Okay, your time
2 pounds.
£2. Really?
Yeah, it's called hot Punjabi chili sauce.
Hot Punjabi chili sauce.
Yeah.
And that hot Punjabi chili sauce, when you used to buy it, you said that people used to go crazy over it, innit?
Yeah.
Crazy. So at the time when you did it, before you started it, थोड़े जो nervous हुए थे कि जो कि एक चलूगी तो नहीं? Did you ever have that doubt or no?
To tell that story, I wasn't really too much bothered about it. I was just like, it's something people, saying it, let me just try it. I had no idea vision ke my business बनाना है या तो बन के की होगा, next की होगा. I was just doing things as they were happening and just seeing what was going on.
तो हाले भी वो तो काम करी अंदर सीखे.
Yeah, I was still teaching. Yeah.
Wow. So you are a teacher, a professor.
Yeah.
You're doing the Gym Khana restaurant.
Yeah.
Now you've got another venture, the sauces.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You don't like to stay in one place, innit, uncle?
Well, I don't know what that was. That's what was happening. Yeah, exactly.
literally. But
So basically, I used to work there on weekends, a part-time job.
did you get paid? Did you get paid, uncle?
Yeah.
Well, just about. He convinced us of like below minimum wage was normal, and until we realised otherwise.
My dad made me work £30 for 12 hours.
You know when we used to do the food truck, yeah? My man used to pay me 50p and told me that was good. I didn't know any different.
Did I?
Yeah, you used to pay me. I remember that because I told my mum, and then my mum, she's like, "You need to speak to your dad. He's taking the piss."
50p.
50p.
For how long?
From 4:30 in the morning till we came home at 5 o'clock in the afternoon.
I don't know.
I was a kid.
I wouldn't do that.
No,
way.
100%.
That's mad, dog.
No
100%,
way.
but-
Nah, he's right. He's trying to save the costs.
Yeah, 100%. Keep the costs low. So basically, I used to work at Gym Khana. My brothers and I, we all did our shift at Gym Khana.
What time period is this? Look.
Like maybe 2000s
Okay, 2000s.
at some point, like 2010. I don't know when.
Early-
it was.
early-
early 2000s.
Early
Early
2000s,
2000s.
yeah.
Early 2000s. So working there part time. So we used to see like what people did with the sauce and how much they loved it. And then I left, and then like a couple of years later, I was sitting at home like with my family, and my dad had come home, and it was raining outside. He had one of those like really cheap blue plastic bags, and he had the sauces in there. We're like, "Oh, Pops, what have you been doing now?" Because we've grown up with him doing these crazy things, and he's like, "Oh, I've been out trying to sell my sauce," and he hadn't sold any sauces that day, and just looking really dejected. We're like, "Oh, all right, fine, whatever." And then I don't know what happened. Like a week later, I was at work, and my by this time I'd done the same thing. Took the sauces in. My friends like loved it at work. I remember they used to have, you know, the Ginster's pies, Ginster's beef pies. They used to get the chili sauce and put it on the pie and have that at lunch. And then they'd blast me if they ran out of sauce and tell me to bring sauce to work.
Yeah.
Right. So everyone at work knew about the sauces. And there was an advert that we saw for the BBC Good Food Show.
Oh.
Now, the BBC Good Food Show is a massive like food event at Kensington Olympia. 30,000 people over a course of a weekend. And they come just to come and try food samples. It's an amazing weekend, amazing day out. So there was an advert to have a stand there. And for some reason, I was like, okay, that's interesting. And a friend of mine goes, oh, you should sell your sauce there. So I was like, okay, I called them and they said it's £900. At that time, I didn't have money. I didn't have £900. That could have been £900,000 as far as I was concerned. But I was like, okay. And I booked it on my credit card. So £900, put it on my credit card. I'd never spent that much money before in my life. I came home and I said to my family, guys, we need to make 1,000 bottles of chili sauce because I've just spent £900 on my credit card at the BBC Good Food Show. And I need to pay off my credit card because I don't have that money. And I don't know why, but everyone there, I remember walking in after work, they're all sitting there watching EastEnders.
Yeah.
And everyone said yes. My brother had just got married. So my sister-in-law was like 6 months into the family. And like obviously they knew like Jim Khana, they knew our story and everyone said yes. And literally about 2 weeks later.
But the thing is, when he said that, I said, what? How do you make 900 bottles or 1,000 bottles? I've only made like 5 or 6 bottles at a time.
Oh, yeah.
I had no idea how to make like 1,000 bottles. You only used to make 5, 6 bottles or 10 bottles maximum at one go. And I was to taste cake, kidda karna hai. And I got really mad. I said, well,
You're
what?
nervous, isn't it?
Yeah, how am I going to do it?
What was your plan?
The plan was to make 1,000 bottles.
Handedly.
Yeah.
No. This is the way I work, right? I can see that this is what we're going to do. I know what we need to do. The details, I don't know.
Yeah,
right. That's for someone else to figure out.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I've come home and I'm like, guys, we need to make 1,000 bottles. And the show was in about 2 or 3 weeks. And then a couple of weeks later, we're in my mum's kitchen and we've destroyed the kitchen. There's like chilies. They were stuck in the ceiling. They were like, we were washing them in the bathtub because you have to wash the dirt off the chilies. And somehow we've muddled through and we've managed to make these 1,000 bottles of chili sauce. And I still remember the night before the first day, so you have to boil this chili sauce to kill all the germs and then you have to heat seal it. So you pour it in boiling hot into a glass bottle and then you have to instantly seal it. So when you're holding the bottle, you're basically holding like molten lava, right? So you can't just hold it with your hands. And in each box, there was, I think, 60 bottles and each box weighed 35 kilos, right? I remember these numbers. I'll tell you why in a second. Because the next day when we got to the show, we had to carry these bottles up 4 flights of stairs at Kensington Olympia, my youngest brother and me, and set up our stand. And these bottles were still boiling hot.
Ooh.
Right, but we managed to make 1,000 bottles. So, and I'll never forget this, on the first day of the show, we didn't even know how to set up a stand. We didn't know how to do anything. So we've got like chilies, we've got a lunki, it's got loon mircha on there. It's got, we're just trying to make it as like, as homely as we can, just trying to tell our story. And we put our bottles up, we're putting the sauces on the table and we're like, okay, we haven't even started yet properly. We're still setting up. And out the corner of my eye, I see this buddhi walking towards us, right? Purple hair, English lady, waddling over to us. I'm like, please don't stop here. This will kill you. It's hot sauce. Please don't stop here. Please. And I could see her looking at us. And she's walked over and she's like, all right, love. I'm like, all right.
All right, love.
Yeah. And she's like, what's this? I said, oh, it's our chili sauce. And I didn't have a pitch. We didn't have a story. And I just said, oh, it's my dad's recipe. We made the chili sauce last night. We were washing this in the bathtub. This is my family. That's my mom. That's my brother. And this is the sauce that we've made. It's called Mr. Singh's. And she's like, oh, is it hot? I'm like, yeah, it is very hot. Can I try some? I'm like, I'd rather you didn't because it's quite hot. And she's like, no, I'll try some. So I'm terrified now because I'm like, this lady's going to have a heart attack. It's going to be our fault because she ate our hot sauce. And she's tried it. She's gone red and she's on, like making the faces, and we're like, oh man, I'm gonna be in trouble. And she goes, that's really, really hot, isn't it? I'm like, yeah. She goes, it's nice though. My son will love that. And she reached into her purse and she gave me £2. And she walked off with a bottle of sauce.
Kya bata nahi.
And we all looked at each other, we're like, she
You
just
sold us a bottle of sauce.
she just paid us for this. Right? By the end of that weekend, we'd sold out 1,000 bottles.
Jeez!
Right?
You're
And I-
real bad, man.
I remember, do you remember this?
1,000 bottles sold.
1,000 bottles sold over the course of a weekend, like 7 of us shouting at anyone that walks past, try some chili sauce, try some chili sauce, my dad's chili sauce, anything that we could think of.
Yeah.
Like this lunatic family of 7 selling this chili sauce that's made in East London. We made it in a shed, we used to tell them. And Sunday night, we're exhausted and we're sitting in the living room counting the money. I'm like, we've actually made the money to pay for the show, to pay for all the ingredients, but we've made some money here. Well, what? This is amazing. And we didn't know what to do with
How
it
much, if you
after
don't mind me
that.
asking, how much did you clear in that weekend? Easily.
Well, it's we made £2,000, right? Because we only made 1,000 bottles of chili sauce.
So you made £2,000 in a weekend of just with chili sauces.
Just chili sauce.
Yeah.
So
That was
the stand was £900, and then I think it was another £500, £600 for ingredients and stuff. What we didn't count at that time was the cost of labor, which is another thing altogether. But anyway, we didn't know that.
We were not in
existed
business at that
we
time.
didn't know about that at that time. But as far as we were concerned,
It
like,
worked.
we've made profit. We've made some money.
And he was selling it on such a low price as well, £2.
It was £2. And we're like, well, that was an incredible high. That was an incredible experience. What do we do now? But we all looked at each other and we went, I think we've got something here.
Yeah,
And then basically for the next year and a half, all we did was book, oh, that's a food show happening there. Should we do that? So normal families are sitting there about what wedding they're going to, or what auntie's done this, or what, we're going to this judge's house. We're sitting there going, we're going to this, all right, we need to go to Spitalfields Market at 4 o'clock in the morning to buy 100 kilos of chili. And then same like my dad, because it must be where we picked it up. So we go to work during the day, evenings and weekends, we're making chili sauce in our shed now. And that first year and a half was how we kind of, our business was born, how Mr. Singh's was born at these food shows. And then people started writing about us and telling our story because it was different. And that was like the birth of Mr. Singh's.
Mr. Singh from Sources.
Yeah.
So when did, and how long, and is that, the Sources now? When did you end that? Or did
So the journey with the sauce was that we went from that first year and a half it was a bit of a roller coaster, because towards the end of that first year, a lot of people were writing about us, and just because it was different. And then one day we got an email, and I thought it was like a spam email. It was someone asking us to audition for something, but we read it again. And it was from a company that claimed that they represent the BBC. But anyway, it ended up being that they did represent the BBC, and we auditioned for a TV show called High Street Dreams. And basically the concept was that we would be mentored to take our product from home to the high street. If you've got dreams of the high street. And as far as we were concerned, if you're on the shelves of the supermarkets, you've made it.
You've made it, yeah.
So we got accepted to be on this TV show, and it went out on like prime time. This is after about 4 years, 3-4 years, that we got
in business.
Just doing these.
And were you still working? Was this like a part-time venture?
Yeah, still
But
part-time.
I think I had
quit,
I had quit at that time. Yeah,
Yeah,
because Gym Khana was running nice. That's it. I am free of 9 to 5.
Karta hun
That's,
khatam kahani.
I'm done.
That's it. Mr. Singh has done it.
I've done my. This is what I want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then basically we got onto this TV show. We were mentored by someone called Jo Malone, and she'd sold her business for like tens of millions or hundreds of millions, I don't know, to Estee Lauder. So she mentored us. And by the end of that show, we got the opportunity to pitch Asda. And so in that show, we pitch Asda, they accept our product, and we think we've made it, right? We've, in a matter of two years or 3 years, like doing these food shows, we're now pitching Asda, and they've said yes.
It's a big boy thing, man. No, I'll be wrong.
Yeah.
But the reality here afterwards, that it doesn't work like that. And it took a long time for it to kind of start rolling and things like that. And anyway, but by that time, I started to understand what it meant to actually build a business based on sources. It's not an easy business. I'd funded everything myself, like for the family up until that point. And I got to the point where I'd put so much money into it and it was making money, but it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And I had to make a choice. Do we continue with Mr. Singh's or do we quit it now? And so I went to my best friend who's also an accountant, and I was telling him the issue and he said, look, Cooks, I don't think you've tried that hard. And I blasted him. I'm like, what do you mean? We've been working evenings and weekends, like 7 days a week for the last couple of years. How can you say that? And he said, like, if you think money's the only issue, I don't think you've tried hard enough to find a solution. Why don't
Investors.
you go speak to investors?
Yeah.
So I was like, okay. And I remember like I joined a couple of networks. I put our pitch out there and I got invited to speak at an event at really short notice. I had 7 minutes to pitch to 60 investors in a room. I didn't tell my family. I just turned up on the day, did my pitch. And I remember I ended the pitch and I said, look, if I don't get this money, this is what we've done. We've been on the TV. We were in the press. People are writing about us. I think by that time we were stocking Selfridges as well.
Oh, wow.
And that was because of an article. You know, like we had Tom Parker Bowles, who's like the Queen's son. He came to our house in East London. He's a massive chili head. Wrote this incredible article about us. The CEO of Selfridges happens to be his matey. Read the article, loved the product, wanted us in Selfridges. So we had this great little story that we were telling the investors. And I said, but I funded it up until this point. And if I don't get this money, I'm shutting it down because I can't continue to do it the way that it's being run at the moment. And the event finished, I remember, at 9 o'clock, and I was still there till 1 o'clock in the morning talking to investors that wanted to invest in the company. And then we secured investment the deal was closed about 3 months later, should I say. And then from there, that's when we really pushed the source story. So we then got into Tesco, Selfridges, Harvey Nichols. We were in Tesco, we were in Sainsbury's, we were in Asda, we were exporting out to South Africa, we were in New York, started selling out to Kenya.
Hey,
That was a
वापस
great-
चला गया.
selling out to Kenya.
Back to the motherland.
100%, man.
But that time we also had more range.
Oh, okay.
So we had the barbecue chili sauce. We got the hottest chili sauce.
We made turka, like Punjabi
and,
turka.
Punjabi turka.
Yeah, we put it in a jar. So it was like my mum's
Punjabi paste,
turka. And you put it into a pot. It stunk. So we know it was good. And it got into your clothes. So you have to open all the windows. So we know it's a proper strong turka. We had a range of products. And anyway, like we had 450, 500 independent stockists, like butchers, shops, that type of thing, selling the product. But the problem was that we were all picking and packing ourselves. So we were wrapping pallets of sauce and trying to get it sent out to these supermarkets. We were, hand delivering. Like we were doing all the logistics ourselves, and it was impossible to continue.
I have driven cars in UK like everywhere.
We were doing hundreds of miles of driving every single week, plus trying to do sales, plus trying to do the marketing.
It was just too much.
It was trying to do everything, right? And I remember then what happened was we spoke to a distributor, and the distributor, we agreed a deal with the distributor, and we were like on track to like 7-figure sales.
Right.
And the deal with the distributor was that they would take us to that and beyond, because they were like £100 million company. And where we could hand distribute here, they had fleets of trucks. They had 2,000 independent stores. They had the relationships with the supermarkets already. And so our belief was that if we handed over sales to them, they said, your part of the deal is to build your marketing. So in a year, like my brother was responsible for our marketing. We went from like 4K followers to like 60,000 followers. We started doing these spoof music videos like Fresh Prince. And like we did Backstreet Boys, we did 50 Cent in the club. Like my dad, like dressed up as Jerry Halliwell from the Spice Girls, or like 50 Cent doing sit-ups upside down. He's dressed up as the Fresh Prince, doing all these little things. And that really helped get the brand out there on socials. So we had all this upward trajectory, but then I take ownership. I was running a company. I took my eye off the ball. Because the difference is when I was going to meet a buyer at a supermarket, I'm only talking about Mr. Singh's. I'm passionate. I'm looking at the numbers. What's the performance like? All these different things. But when it's a distributor, I'm a quarter page in a thick catalog. So the distributor is sitting there with the buyer saying, look, okay, you want some Asian product? I got this. You want a British Asian product? I got this. Do you want Chinese? I got this. And the buyer's just going, give me this, and this. It's not the same. And they're not watching our numbers the way that we were. And actually, what started to happen was we started to lose our sales. And we started to lose our positioning on those shelves. And for a supermarket, shelf space is like a rental property. If it's not making money, it's gone. And so within, I think, 8 months of us signing this distribution agreement, we'd almost lost all the listings that we'd worked years to get. And then the other part of it was that because we were growing so much, we did a crowdfunding campaign. And I remember this, we wanted to raise £95,000 and we ended up raising £127,000 in 24 hours.
What?
For the company.
You raised £127,000 in 24 hours?
Yeah. So the campaign opened, we were already 80% funded. And then by the time the 24 hours hit, we was overfunded. So we shut the campaign because we would have had to sell more of the company. So this amazing thing has happened with the funding, but then we've lost everything that we worked so hard for. So I remember like my brother, my dad and me sat around the table like, what are we going to do? Do we give the money back and shut the company down, or do we take the money and roll the dice again?
We were in a snooker hall at that time.
And then
I remember.
फिर की decide किया.
And then we're like, okay, let's go for it. But it's not going to be sauces this time.
Aye.
Because sauces is
On crisps.
sauces is a hard game to be in.
Why would you say that? Why do you think that?
So how quick are you going to use a bottle of chili sauce?
It's gonna. So let's say I don't reach it. Let's just say Pyrenees, for example.
Okay.
It would take me about a month.
Okay, it might take you a month, Pyrenees.
Exactly.
Most people will take maybe 3 months to eat a bottle of chili sauce, maybe 6.
Uh-huh.
So you're not going to buy it that
The rate
often.
of use is very slow.
Right, the rate of use is very slow and you have to get a lot of people buying that particular product.
Yeah.
Also from a logistics perspective, glass and things like that break.
Yeah.
But also, like, this is the boring business part, but
Yeah.
from a cash flow perspective, the easiest way I can describe it is the 1st of January, I have to, let's say, fork out £20,000 to make let's say 100,000 bottles of chili sauce, right? That £20,000 I won't get back with my profits for another 6 months because I have to wait 6 weeks for my product to be made. Then when my product gets delivered, I have to sell it little bits here and there, here and there, here and there. The people that I'm selling it to, they've got payment terms with me. So they may say, actually, I'm going to give me your product, but I'm not going to pay you for another 60 days or another 90 days. So my money is gone. And bear in mind, every month I'm paying wages, I'm paying rent, I'm maybe having to make even more sauce. So it's using up all of my cash and I'm not getting cash back. So we always knew that crisps is something that we wanted to move into because of, going back to the story of the mogo. So growing up at home, they used to fry the mogo and they used to put chili on it, that red packet, right? They used to put chili on it, salt on it, and lemon on it. And it was delicious. When my mum was frying that stuff up and that seasoning went on top, I don't know, it's so addictive, man. It's salty, it's tangy, it's spicy, there's a bit of sweetness to it, and you can't stop eating it. And we always knew if you took that flavor and put it on crisp, it would be banging. So that was the first thing we did. We got that flavor and we found it's really boring, but this beautiful, tasty British potato that when you fried and you put that on top, it was like, I don't know, like fireworks, man. Unicorns and fireworks and deliciousness. It was just magic. And we tasted it and we're like, there's nothing like this that I've ever tasted before. I can't stop eating this. And we knew that was the flavor. So we're like, you know what? If we're going to roll the dice, let's roll it on this.
That's how Mr. Singh's crisps
On one flavor.
Yeah.
So we rolled it on that one
What was
flavor.
it? What was
the red
fir-
one.
Which one?
The red one. The chili, lemon and cracked salt flavor. Yeah. That's the OG flavor.
OG flavor, yeah. आप try करने लगे OG flavor.
Try.
Try
Very
करने लगे
tasty.
So-
with Mr. Singh himself.
Yeah.
Let's try it.
So, and the way that we got that out there was because our budget was so limited, right?
Wow.
We would send samples out to our customers, but we would literally send 1 crisp or 2 crisps in a little bag.
And I'm not even trying to say it for this thing. I'm not even trying to him. मैं हुन कह दूंगा मैंने मेरे ना मिले. This is way better than sensation kitty mala.
Yeah, exactly.
That's
I'm actually trying this. जिन लोगों को नहीं पता, मैं actually don't know. You should try it because it is actually, you can actually feel the flavor.
Exactly.
Feel
See,
that.
when we wanted to come, because when we looked at the Chris market, Sensation, Sweet Thai Chili, this, that, and it. There's no chili in it.
No, yeah. They're like actually.
And this has got the nice chili. Just you can enjoy it.
No, it's really. No, I'm not even gonna. I'm not even trying to.
Really tasty.
Because you know it's. I'm not even just saying it like that, but chili, and I can feel the lemon in the back of my throat. That sounds mad, but. That sounds mad. But no, it's good though. Now this is act ball with nice. I honestly, Jana ji, then they ball with you, and then so this was the OG.
That was the original one.
It's the big brother.
So that when that went out, it proved that it worked, right? People were buying it. They kept coming back.
2017,
and they kept coming back, and it was much faster than the sauces. They were because how quickly are you going to eat a bag of crisps? Exactly.
I had one, but I had one already.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm supposed to be cutting it.
So then what happened was that that continued to grow, and then we're like, okay, we need to launch some more flavors. We had so again from Gym Khana days, my dad used to do a tandoori chicken.
Oh, he made it like that.
Right, the tandoori, but I'd become vegan by that time, but I missed that flavor, and I missed cheese and onion crisp from Pret. They made your breath stink, but they were delicious, and I missed cheese and onion. So I said to my dad, make that flavor, but on crisps. So somehow, like mad scientist vibes, he put the tandoori chicken flavor and that smokiness on the crisp. The chili, cheese and onion. Not only did I miss the crisp, but growing up, I don't know if you had this, but when they said, like we had family over, they're like, go and make a salad. Well, there's a salad. It would be cubes of cheese with an onion, like onion slices, and then chili on top.
Yeah.
So that's chili, cheese and onion.
Yeah.
So we're like, why don't we just take cheese and onion, put chili on it, and mix it up with the flavors that we grew up with? And that made the chili, cheese and onion. So
which one was the second flavor?
The tandoori chicken and the chili, cheese and onion. We released them both at the same time. The year of COVID.
I'm trying because I actually like shit. So I'm gonna try this one now. I really like this. It's really good. Very, very good.
Appreciate it, man. I appreciate it. That's a good crisp as well, man.
Yeah. Right, it slaps, man. Right, this actually is really, really good.
Flavor masala, yeah.
All vegan as well, man.
So all of these are vegan?
All vegan. Because and honestly, the only reason we made it vegan is because I'm vegan. And I miss those flavors. That was it.
No animal, nothing in this.
Nothing. No milk, no cheese. But it smells like cheese. It tastes like cheese.
ਆਪਾਂ ਦੂਸਰੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਡ ਖਾਣੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਖਾਈਏ ਘੈਂਟ
ਇਦਾਂ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਆ ਹਨਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਫਿਰ you enjoy it.
I'm not gonna lie.
Not just a brand, is the taste we talk. A proper ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜਿੰਨਾ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਖਾਓ
That's why we sell to pubs and bars.
Pubs love it.
What is your ambition next? What do you want to do?
So it's very simple. We're going to be the #1 chili snack brand in the country very quickly. By the end of this year, we're aiming to be in 1,500 stockists selling our products. We've got something called a black card that we've launched, kind of like the Nando's black card.
Okay.
Basically just for loyal fans. Eventually the goal is to have 10,000 loyal fans and then hundreds of thousands of customers buying from us online as well. But eventually, we want this to be a £100 million brand.
100%, man. You got to keep just what you're doing.
Yeah, of course.
Dig to that 100%. Yeah. Even me, bro, I'm not ready to obviously money like that. But when I started my TikTok account, the first one got taken down at 30k. I was in hospital. Yeah, I was in hospital. Bro, literally, last year, I hit 100k on TikTok. One account.
Amazing, congratulations.
Yeah, got hacked by some Nigerian brother.
No
then
way.
Me being me, I hit 25k on Instagram, got hacked. I had a window. I felt like jumping out the window then and there. I'm not going to lie. You don't understand. I literally went and I was like, okay, I can't lose this. I remember I was just shaving my chest and I have one half shaved, the other half is here. Because there's a Nigerian guy, he's messaging me from my other account saying, hey, I'm inside your account. Please send me money. So I've got a couple of savings stacked up. So I'm sending money, 1,000. I'm spending £1,000 like it's peas. 1, 2, 3, 4. I've spent £4,000. Then I've gone on Telegram and asking people, can you hack? I've called the army. I said, do you have anybody that knows that I'll pay? Like whatever. Then I don't know what I always say. God, like this is a God-sent person. I found a man, literally in a little village near the mountains in Pakistan.
No way.
Who I paid £750 to, and I paid I was meant to pay him £750. I actually paid him £900 because I appreciate it. He was in a little hut. I don't know what he did, but something like I got my account back, and now I don't even touch any links. I don't. If anyone sends you, even you lot, if anyone sends you a message, don't touch the link. I don't even touch it because and the thing is, because of me, because he was in my account, he sent the link as people thought it was me. All of their accounts got hacked as well.
No.
Yeah, man. I don't, because it was, bro. I was sending emails. I was writing letters to China. I was trying to stay awake so China time, my time matches. I went crazy because
Wow.
yeah, man. It was hard, man. It was very, very hard. So that's why I kind of relate to the story, obviously, because the thing is when it goes up and then all of a sudden it's like a shock. You get lost.
I don't know if you feel like this now after what you've been through, but I think what we've come to learn, and we were talking about this earlier, that it's normal.
Yeah,
like these crazy ups and downs are normal, and if you can just accept it as normal and just know that you're going to be okay. Like I remember reading this quote. It said you've got 100% track record of surviving your worst days.
You know Punjabis, yeah, ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਹੁਣ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ Kenyan ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਜਦ Kenyan ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ obviously ਆਪਣੇ ਕਲਚਰ ਤਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਰੂਟ ਤਾਂ ਬੈਕ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਪਰ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਫਰਕ ਲੈਂਗੁਏਜ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਰਕ ਹੈਗਾ. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਆਈਡੀਓਲੋਜੀਕਲੀ ਕਲਚਰਲੀ ਥੋੜੇ ਜਿਹੇ ਫਰਕ ਹੈਗੇ? Do you think modern ਹੈਗੇ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਲੋਕ Kenya ਤੋਂ ਆਏ? Because obviously ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ different local are. Do you agree with that Kenyan Punjabis are more modern than normal Punjabis? What do you think?
I wouldn't say that they're modern. I wouldn't say it's more modern ideals, but I would definitely say they are different in their approach and their philosophies of life. I would say Kenyan Singhs are probably like way more laid back and I don't know, maybe more inclusive perhaps, and not so strict on certain cultural like expectations.
ਅੰਕਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ?
ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ I think ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਕੇਨੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਆਏ ਨਾ, they're very much into taking life as it comes.
Achha.
Not taking things very seriously in life.
What's the saying? There's like a Kenyan thing you guys say about like a flowing life, easy life. I start pole, that's it.
Pole chalo means slowly.
ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਵਾਲੇ ਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਟ੍ਰੈਸ ਲੈ ਲੈਣੇ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਹਨਾ.
Yeah, ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਟੈਨਸ਼ਨਾਂ ਲੈ ਜਾਣੀਆਂ ਆ. And I think this is more of my life's philosophy as well. Because I literally don't give any damn about politics. I don't give about anything what's happening around me. ਜਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਨਾਲ ਮੇਰਾ ਕਨੈਕਸ਼ਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਨਾ, ਮੇਰਾ ਕੋਈ ਵਾਸਤਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ. Why do I want to think about it? ਉਹ ਮੇਰੀ ਵਾਈਫ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੱਡੀ ਚਲਾਏ ਆ ਦੇਖ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚਲਾਈ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਗੱਡੀ. I don't care ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਚਲਾਈ ਜਾਵੇ. I got nothing to do with me.
ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਟੁਗੇਦਰ, ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਹੀ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ, ਠੀਕ? ਕੈਨੇਡਾ ਚੱਲ ਗਏ, ਯੂਗੈਂਡਾ ਚੱਲ ਗਏ, ਪੰਜਾਬ ਤੋਂ ਆ ਗਏ, ਅਮਰੀਕਾ, ਸਾਰੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਆ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ? ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਕੀ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ 'ਚ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਪ੍ਰੋਬਲਮ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਟੌਕਸਿਕਨੈਸ ਕਿਹੜੀ? ਆਪਾਂ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅਗਰੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਇੱਕ other ਨੂੰ ਇੰਨਾ ਸਪੋਰਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ?
I don't think it's like a common thing, but I think ਹਜੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਜਾਤਾਂ ਜੂਤਾਂ ਹੈਗੀਆਂ ਨਾ, that's a really bad thing still. I think ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਮੇਨ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਸੀਗਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਗੁਰੂਆਂ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਬਣਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਮਤਲਬ ਇਹ ਸੀਗਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਜਾਤ ਪਾਤ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਬੰਦ ਕਰੋ. ਪਰ ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਹੁਣ ਐਂਡ ਦਾ ਰੀਜ਼ਨ ਕਿ ਆਪਣੀ ਹਜੇ ਤੱਕ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਕਮਿਊਨਿਟੀ ਹੈਗੀ ਉਹ ਕਿਉਂ ਇਕੱਠੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੀ, ਜਦ ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੀ ਗਲਤ ਹੈਗੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਬਣਾਓਗੇ? ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਦੀ ਸੀਗੀ ਕਿ ਜਾਤ ਨੂੰ ਬੰਦ ਕਰੋ. ਜਦ ਜਾਤ ਠੀਕ, ਜਿਹੜੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਠੀਕ ਹੋਵੇ, ਫਿਰ ਉਹ 'ਤੇ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਬਣਨਗੀਆਂ. ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਫਾਊਂਡੇਸ਼ਨ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਈ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਬਣ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ.
I think just to add to like what my dad's saying, like my dad said earlier on, he's not really that religious, but we, you probably feel the same as well. Like we get a lot of like hate from people saying, "Oh, you're not really a Sikh because you don't wear a pug, you don't have a beard, you don't look the part." Right? But we've always been raised in the philosophy of like, how do you conduct your inner self and how do you conduct your day-to-day life? Is it in line with what we're taught? Is it seva? Do you respect and look after your elders? Do you respect and look after those that can't look after themselves? It's how you conduct your day-to-day life. And I think where the problem comes is where people blend the lines between like religious teachings and culture. They're two very different things, and they perhaps blur those lines and then try and hold you accountable to things that are blurred in their own
Bro,
minds.
I completely agree. Like me personally, sorry to interrupt you. I always say this. I am not a good representation of what a Sikh is meant to be. I don't
Look
say,
like.
I don't
physically,
know, but I
yeah,
think,
physically,
yeah. And I say that because for me, and that's why I always say to people that I talk about culture, but never involve me with religion. Because for me, it's like you can be a Punjabi Sikh, you can be a Punjabi Muslim, you can be a Punjabi Hindu. At the end of the day, I'm talking about Punjab, I'm talking about us. So, like you said, Uncle, like you've got a bug on your head, right? And I think a lot of times what you're saying, bro, is completely correct as well. That sometimes within our own community, I feel like, and this is one thing I agree with, and I think you might agree with this as well because you've got a business where you've got a certain name with a bug. I feel like our own people, Punjabis, Sikhs, whatever you want to call it, don't want to see each other win enough. We don't support each other enough to grow to a level where we can have that little what other communities have. Because that's what I personally think. And the reason why I even invited you on the show is personally, I generally wanted to see, firstly, a banda who's literally going out there, doing outside the norm. Because let's be real, how many Punjabi uncles with a turban do you see making TikToks? I find it amusing.
Yeah,
I find it amazing.
Yeah.
But my dad, I'm going to be real, I'm not going to say, but a lot of uncles will be like, आकी करी जाने हो आकी बकवास आकी लोकी कहणगे लोकी लोਕਾਂ ने ਤਾਂ ਕਹੀ ਆਣਾ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਖੁਸ਼ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਸੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਦੀ ਖੁਸ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕੇ ਕੋਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕੀ
like we've always been, like I said, like we've always been taught by action that it's not necessarily what you look like, because we also know firsthand, like there's people that look the part, but you know deep down they don't play the part, right? They're awful people.
100%.
And so we were like, when we learnt that at a young age, and we found our parents and our family reinforcing that it's actually the person that you are, and if you conduct yourself internally in-house and those that love you see that you're doing that and they respect you, then that's enough. And then you can wear that like a badge of pride and a shield that you can go out there into the world and be your true self, because you know you're conducting yourself in your cleanest way possible. And like you said, everyone's going to talk, either good or bad. And I think the thing with maybe like our community, maybe why we don't push, and we do. I do want to also add, look, we get a lot of support from the Asian community, and you do also get people that want to try and pull you down. And maybe it's like normal in all cultures, but I don't know. I just feel like with who we are and what we're doing, we just see it as this is the small part that we're playing to take that Mr. Singh name and put it out into the world. Because when, like, for example, you go out into like British culture and you say the name Mr. Singh, every single experience we have when they say, you're Mr. Singh, I know a Mr. Singh, and it's always like an incredible story. My neighbor is a Mr. Singh. My husband, my neighbor's granddad fought in the war. It's so much pride they talk when they talk about a Mr. Singh. And so we're like, you know what? If we can bring our version of that into the world, then we're playing our part. Some people may agree with it, some people not. But this is our version of it.
Exactly.
We're like, you know, we're British, Asian, Punjabi. We're born here. Our upbringing is completely different from our ancestors. So we're going to make the best of what we've got and tell our story. That's our contribution. And that's what we're going to ride with.
Yeah, completely. I agree with you completely. And going back to Uncle, मैं ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਸੀ ਕਿ if you could give one piece of advice, if ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਕ ਸਲਾਹ ਆਪਣੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੋਏ ਦੇ ਵਰਜ਼ਨ ਨੂੰ ਦੇ ਸਕੋ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਸਲਾਹ ਦੋਗੇ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ? if ਜਾ ਕੇ ਵੀ ਟਾਈਮ 'ਚ ਵਾਪਸ ਤਾਂ ਕੀ ਦੋਗੇ? ਕੋਈ ਸਲਾਹ ਹੈਗੀ? if ਹੁਣ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਕੋਈ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਛੋਟਾ ਵਰਜ਼ਨ ਬੈਠਾ ਹੋਵੇ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕੁਝ ਕਹੋਗੇ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਹੁਣ ਪਤਾ ਤਾਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਤਾ ਸੀ?
I think you'd do it all over again.
No, just carry on. Do the same thing again. Nothing. Because I don't think I've done anything, you know, I would like to change, because I think I did.
There's no regrets, isn't it? You've lived your life the way that you
exactly.
wanted to live your life.
Live what जो मेरे सामने सिखा मैं कीता, you know, जो मेरे सामने आया, जो दिमाग ने सोचा कीता, I've done it, and I haven't sort of like, you know, I couldn't say कि मैं आ कर लेंदा. I don't think so. There is anything.
ਵਧੀਆ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਪਛਤਾਵੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਕੀਤੇ?
ਨਹੀਂ, ਕੋਈ ਪਛਤਾਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ.
ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ।
ਕੋਈ ਪਛਤਾਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ।
ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਲਾਸਟ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਲਾਲ ਕਲਰ, ਠੀਕ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਸਪਾਈਸ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਆਹ ਸਮਝਾਓ ਕਿ why the red color, please? Is it because you make spice? You really, what is that about? Is red your favorite color, Uncle?
Red is my favorite color, yeah.
Okay.
My man's a peacock.
Yeah,
That's it, man.
I love the red color.
A very beautiful pug that you've got
yeah.
tied up.
Actually, पता कि the thing is कि ladies the लाल lipstick होती है ना फिर ਉਹਦਾ ਕੋਈ ਅਸਰ ਹੋਇਆ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ.
Oh, cool. Lovely. But this red, have you always had a red pug? Always?
No, I wear different colors. I'm more of like I try to match. Like,
I don't think I can imagine anything not red.
Yeah,
Red just
well-
really suits you.
Yeah, well, I think it does. I love red color is my favorite color. But I have different colors: purple, blue, pink.
But red, you stuck with the brand. Was there a reason?
Yeah,
for this?
brand color. Yeah,
But
yeah,
spice associate.
yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's just like.
Can you tell me this? Yeah, you know ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਜਿਹਦਾ different style ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ. Kenyan style different ਹੁੰਦਾ, material
ਹਾਂਜੀ,
different ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ. Is the ਇਹ ਕਿਉਂ? Because I want to know this. I've always wanted to know this. Kenyan Sikhs, and this is, tell me if this is true or wrong, but they said that the Kenyan pugs that they tie, you're a bit pointy from the top.
Yeah.
And apparently, this is what I've heard, that back in the day when they used to work, they would hide stuff in there. So, hide कर से एक तो नहीं पता क्यों pointy हुंदी ज़्यादा?
No, I don't think so. I don't know whether it's anything to do with hiding or anything. It's just a style, I think, which actually just originated in Kenya for some certain reason. I don't know why, but it's just something that evolved in there, and people.
Must have been one Dugu, just one day went like that, and then the other ones went, I like that,
ਤੁਹਾਡੇ
man.
ਜਿਹੜੇ ਬਾਬੇ ਸੀਗੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ
ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੀਆਂ.
ਦੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀਗੀ
ਉਹ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੋਂ ਗਏ ਸੀਗੇ.
ਅੱਛਾ
ਹੁਣ ਮੇਰੇ ਡੈਡ ਦੀ ਵੀ ਪੱਗ style is totally different. Yeah.
No,
yeah.
Babaji's used to be like this.
No, Baba Ji, not that much, no. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਐਕਚੁਅਲੀ ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਆ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਤਹਿ ਲਾਉਂਦੇ ਨਾ ਪੱਗ ਦੀ, ਇਹਦੀ ਪੱਗ ਦੀ ਤਹਿ ਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੂਣੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਡਿਫਰੈਂਟ ਆ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਹ ਪੂਣੀ ਨਾਲ ਇਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਬਣ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੀ.
Because I've seen a couple of my friends, they're Kenyan Sikhs, and they sometimes put cardboard.
Yeah, they put paper in it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਚੂਈ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਸੀ ਉਦੋਂ?
ਹਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਛੋਟੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਪੱਗਾਂ 'ਚ ਪੇਪਰ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ.
ਇਹ ਕਿੱਥੋਂ ਆਇਆ? Where did you like what?
Well, basically ਜਿਹੜਾ ਲਾਸਟ ਵਾਲਾ ਲਾੜ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਨਾ, the last lard, if there's no paper in it, it will just won't give you the shape. So when you put the paper in the last.
Have you got paper in there right now?
No, that's why people started doing starching. This is mandi wali pagga.
Oh, so
these all like starched up. So once you tie it, it will maintain its shape.
Oh, this is why sometimes ਮੈਂ ਦੇਖੇ ਮੇਰੇ dad ਪੱਗ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਫ਼ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰਾ ਉਹ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ. ਉਹ ਸਟਾਰਚ ਅੱਛਾ
starch ਕਰ ਲੈਂਦੇ. These are starched paper. ਜਿਹੜੇ ਇੰਡੀਆ ਤੇ ਪੱਗਾਂ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੂਣੇ ਉਹ ਮੰਡੀ ਵਾਲੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਜ਼ ਬੰਨਣੀ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਆ.
Okay.
ਇਹ ਜਿਹਦਾ is like very much like a hat basically.
No.
Put back,
No way.
comes off because it's starched.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
There are a lot of good, because I'm not gonna lie, Uncle, you've been boss ਤੁਸੀਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧੀਆ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ journey ਰਹੀ ਆ,
Thank you.
and you're an inspiration to a lot of people.
Hope so.
And what is there any one piece of lesson that you want to give forward to your sons that you think you want to give? ਕੋਈ ਹੈਗਾ ਇੱਕ lesson ਇਹਨਾਂ ਲਈ?
I don't need to give any lessons to anybody because for me, life itself is a lesson. I learn every day and I move on with it. ਬਹੁਤ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ, ਬਹੁਤ ਗਲਤੀਆਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ ਆ. You learn from it and the main thing is ਪਤਾ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ I think one thing is ਕਿ ਆਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ life ਆ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਆ. You have to understand ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ life ਆ. You make decisions, you make choices. Whichever way you choose and decide, ਉਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਗੱਡੀ ਜਾਣੀ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ. ਜੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਗਲਤ ਪਾਸੇ ਆਏ ਤਾਂ ਉਧਰ ਨੂੰ ਜਾਓਗੀ, ਜੇ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਸਹੀ ਪਾਸੇ. It's up to you, your life. You take them whichever way you want to take it. ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਅਕਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੋਈ ਨਹੀਂ. ਮੈਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਬਥੇਰੇ ਅਕਲਾਂ ਦਿੱਤੇ, ਮੈਂ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਬੇਵਕੂਫ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਅਕਲਾਂ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ.
ਸਲਾਹ ਐਵੇਂ ਦੇਈ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਲੋਕ.
ਐਵੇਂ.
And what do you think for you? What's one important lesson that you've learned from your dad and his journey?
Most important lesson I've learned from my dad, I would say living your life with freedom and letting go of things that can hold you back. Like if you can live like that, that gives you more freedom than people ever know. Like so many people I know, they hold on to things. That person said that one thing to me that one time. I don't like the way that this thing happened. Like my mum, that person cut me up, and get pissed off about that. You carry that with you like a noose around your neck. But if you can like just learn to let go, the freedom it gives you is unparalleled.
Yeah.
ਆਪਣੇ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਦਿਲ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਉਹ ਚੀਜ਼ ਆ ਬੰਦੇ ਦਾ ਦਿਲ ਵੱਡਾ ਹੋਣਾ ਚਾਹੀਦਾ ਬਸ ਹੋਰ ਕੁਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਆ you know like I mean I remember so many times like you know ਅਸੀਂ ਦਾਰੂ ਪੀ ਕੇ ਲੜ ਪਣਾ ਰਾਤ ਨੂੰ you know ਬ੍ਰਦਰਾਂ ਨੇ ਡੈਡ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸਵੇਰ ਨੂੰ ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਸਤਿ ਸ਼੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਠੀਕ ਆ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਗੱਲ ਗਈ ਬਾਤ ਗਈ ਖਤਮ ਹੋਈ ਗੱਲ
That's what my mom says.
why tension you know that's it.
No, I think I've learned something from this podcast as well from you. I think you've lived your life. कोई पछतावे नहीं है, है ना?
No.
And I think I want to be like that as well. I think from you, Uncle, I've learned live your life, do what makes you happy.
Exactly.
Don't harm anyone.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
as long as you are happy, don't live with life with regrets.
Yeah, ਜਿਸ ਨੂੰ help ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਕਰੋ ਨਹੀਂ ਤਾਂ ਨਾ ਸਹੀ.
I completely. Yeah, and that's why I think Mr. Singh's. I'm not gonna lie, Mr. Singh's man. They're here to conquer. They're here to conquer. Literally,
They will.
Literally, they will. They're gonna conquer, and all the mouths are gonna be like, "Rah." आगे Mr. Singh है, literally Singh आगे. पर ਹੁਣ conquering ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ. ਮੇਰੇ ਵੱਲ ਦੇਖੀ ਨਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਡਰ ਜਿਹਾ ਲੱਗੀ ਜਾਂਦਾ.
I would be
Listen,
very
man, that
scared.
stuff's lethal. I'm telling you, we called it the most dangerous crisp in the world.
ਇਹ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੈ ਨਾ? ਤੁਸੀਂ
I think so. ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਲਾਇਆ
ਡਰਾਣੇ ਲਾ ਦੇ.
ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਮੇਰੇ ਛਾਪ ਦਿੱਤਾ.
So, ਮੈਂ ਸਪਾਈਸੀਐਸਟ ਖਾਣ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਅੰਕਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਖਾਣ ਲੱਗਿਆ ਮਿਸਟਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਦੇਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ
Oh my god.
Oh, I need water. Hey.
No, bring you some. I think we killed Hazzy, man.
मेरी जीभ अंकल तुझे क्या तू गलत नहीं किया गलत बहुत आकर
ਇਹ ਮੁੰਡਿਆਂ ਤੇ ਕਰਾਇਆ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਮੈਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਰਨਾ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਕਿਹਾ ਕਰ
Oh my days, man. Oh, fucking hell. Oh, God.
Uncle, you look so innocent, yeah?
Oh, God.
Listen, if your man cheats on you, give him this. Okay.
That's got to be one of them. I'm not trying. I have to see that.
Make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Hype Talk with Hazzy. Sweet uncle. But don't get on the wrong side of him. The Africa to just spy on there. मैं और की कहाँ करेंगे language की
I didn't do it. I was supposed to do it. I would nothing to do with this.
Yes. I think we killed Hazzy, man.
So मेरी तो जीभ जागी but make sure you like, comment, subscribe. Mr. Singh's, आओ खाओ